Testing.
Yes. We've been able to hear you the whole, well, most of the time. You just couldn't. I can check for you. One moment. Yeah. I can check for you. One moment. Your audio is not coming through the stream.
Oh, and it's
Wait,
not.
actually, wait. Talk again?
Mute me in the Discord. I'm getting an echo. Okay. Can you hear me now? Test. Testing.
It is working through the stream.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I was sweating. Let's see. Let's do it. All right, we're going to do. Let's see. I'm gonna close out of this. Oh, today was a busy day. Let's see. All right, we are almost ready to go. We have 75 people. Oh, can you mute the stream now, Matt? Because I'm getting an echo.
I am muted on the stream.
Excellent.
I've been muted on the stream.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm getting an echo then. Let's see. Hey, Haley. Haley baby. Yeah, I am getting an echo. Okay, we have 48 people ready to go. We're going to start the tournament. Maybe I'm getting an echo from... No, I am getting the echo from you, Mag.
I don't have your stream on.
Like I'm on it, but it's Discord.
I guess it might be. Let me turn. Why is my thing doing that all of a sudden?
Okay.
Okay. What about now?
I don't think so, but I'll let you know.
Sorry, hold on. Repeat that.
I don't think so, but I'll let you know. All right, we are here. We are starting our tournament off. We have, let's see. It says my microphone is working. Thank goodness. It took a long time to get that up and running. Let's see. We are going to share the window that has the tournament. Should be right here. Okay, let's go to this one. Okay, cool. Excellent. We have 24 matches. If you don't see your name, that means you did not check in before the tournament began. We have a lot of people here today. We got Flower Power versus Lego. We got Mini Man. We've got Piggy versus Code Beast. You know what? I'm actually going to start with Piggy versus Code Beast as our first match to watch today. Just because I at least know Piggy, so I want to be able to give them some commentary to help them to get better. If you're in the chat and you want to get watched, just let me know, and we'll try and get your games on stream as well. Piggy is running a team that has it's a Rain Scovillain team plus a Spothra setup, and Code Beast is running what looks to be a Tyranitar Garchomp team with Mega Delphox. So that's pretty cool. I actually was looking at building something pretty similar, so this is going to be a fun one to watch. Hopefully, everyone has a chance to get in and we can watch their games. All right, cool.
Specifically, I will say it is inspired by, I believe it's William Brown's team from Indianapolis.
Okay, excellent. It looks like they're making a room, and we're going to jump over to the Switch. Taking a big break, having fun to get back into it. Think this might be the silliest team I've ever run. With you, Dan, I'm sure it's something pretty crazy. All right, I'm also going to turn this down. Let's see. Okay. All right, we have a lot of people that just joined the Discord. If you're just joining the Discord, awesome. We're glad to have you. It's fun. We stream every Monday, or we at least host a tournament basically every Monday. We try and stream every Monday. Can't always make it happen, but when we do, it's a good time. Like today's going to be a good time. On that note, let me check what the stream match is going to be. Also, thank you for joining, Dan. I love having you. You're a consistent positive energy that comes to these tournaments, and I greatly appreciate you. Lexi VGC. Just started VGC a week ago, hoping I do better than my last few tournaments. Love that for you, Lexi. You know what? The way to do better is to keep on trying, right? All right, let's jump into this room. We're gonna give some commentary. Oh, no, actually, I'm gonna peek at my team. Thank you for the follow, Pit Sniffing Yuri. Yeah, yeah, I'm rooting for you, Lexi. All right, glad to be here. Good. I'm not playing. I'm just commentating. So I am just giving you an insider look of why people, and I'm talking about teams, so that way you can see what's going on behind the scenes. This is the place for people to go when you're just trying to like start getting better at VGC. Or if you've been playing for a while and you like have different opinions on your commentary or on how to play games, you can join in. Anyone can benefit. But this is kind of a place to start at least. All right, let's see. So we're gonna watch Code Beast versus Pig Hog. This is an open team sheet tournament, which means that you're able to see what every single person is bringing to the battle. Mac or Pig is bringing, as you can see on the right, a Scovillain team with Mega Dragonite and a Espathra, and the Espathra has Calm Mind and Baton Pass. Meanwhile, on Code Beast's side, you can't see it right now, I can see it, but basically they have a Tyranitar with Dragon Dance, so it's a setup Tyranitar. Choice Scarf Garchomp, so that's going to be the fastest thing on both teams unless Espathra gets a few speed boosts. Citrus Berry Rotom, which is just kind of built to stay around for a while. Leftover Sinestcha, White Herb Sneasler, and Delphox. So it's a pretty interesting team. It's going to be interesting. Oh, thank you for the follow, Jamie Alex. Greatly appreciated. Also, it's interesting how many more people I have coming to the Twitch than the YouTube, but you know what? I take it back. We got Jamie Alex, or sorry, Jacanu is coming over from the YouTube side. Good to have you. Good evening. Good luck to everyone. Have fun. I wonder if any of my friends are playing today. Well, we'll have to see. Thanks for tuning in, John X. I hope that your friends are potentially playing. We have like we had like 70 people sign up. I don't know if every single one of those people are playing. It looks like we have currently about 48 people that are in this tournament, and it looks like 2 people are joining late. So we have late join-ins. If you want practice, if you want to join in, but you don't want the pressure of being like, oh, I played from the first round. Like, some people seem to... Jacanu? You're Janiku. Oh, I apologize. The text is very small. Alright, so the leads we see from both sides of the field are... It's Delphox and Rotom on Code Beast side, and Pig Hog led with a Politoed and a Espathra lead. So the goal here is like, hey, I really want my Espathra to be able to set up and pass all these boosts to somebody else. The one thing to note, though, is that the Pokemon that they probably most likely want to pass it to is Archaludon, and Archaludon is in finest form when it's in the rain. So Politoed coming in early means it might want to get off the field at some point, because if Tyranitar is in the back for Code Beast, that's going to be able to come in and recast the Sandstorm. But the thing to note is that Tyranitar also has a Mega Stone, so the chance that it comes in and doesn't get the weather it wants is really small, because basically it can Mega Evolve at any point and just recast the terrain, or the weather. Alright. Pig Hog decides, you know what, I can get my Archaludon into this board. Baits a Psychic into the spot, which is really, really powerful because it's going to give this Archaludon a defense boost. Then we're going to see a Calm Mind from Espathra. This Espathra is trying to get online, and honestly, if the board allows it, it might be able to just sweep on its own. Alright, and then we see a Light Screen. Something to note, though, is we did not see this Delphox Mega, which to me indicates that there could potentially be a Mega in the back. And if that is the case, then that Mega is going to be the Tyranitar, because we know with open team sheets that that is the Pokemon that can Mega outside of the Delphox. Alright, so while Pig Hog didn't do any damage, they did do a really good job of positioning their board into a better position. They also got a few boosts across both Pokemon. Uncle Iroh, the Archaludon, is now at +1 defense, and Aang, the Espathra, is at +1 special defense, +1 special attack, and also +1 speed. So now the Espathra is the fastest Pokemon on the field. And let's see what these trainers decide to do now, though. So I believe Rotom set Light Screen, and if that's the case, then special attack damage is going to be mitigated. We do see that Delphox decides to Terra this, or Mega this turn, which means that it is going to be a bit faster. Doesn't look like it's going to be fast enough. We see a Spathra Baton pass out, passing out a +1 boost to special defense, special attack, and speed. So this Pokemon that's coming in is going to be a good deal bulkier than on average, and a good deal faster. At least on the special side. Alright, we see Katara come in, who is the Politoed. It's going to take this Heat Wave really well. Oh my gosh, it barely does like over 10 HP. Uncle Iroh is getting boosted up. We're going to see a Will-O-Wisp come out from the Rotom, which is going to put a like burn chip on this Archaludon, which means, hey, you're not getting your leftovers healing. And we are going to see the Electroshock come out. So notably, the Politoed did come in, and it is a little bit faster, but Politoed's not known for being a super fast Pokemon. So there is the chance that this Delphox will outspeed the Politoed even after all these boosts. Also, Politoed is not particularly, trying to think how to say this. Politoed is not going to be able to hit Rotom particularly hard because it is a water type which will resist its water type attacks. And this Politoed, let's look at how it is set up. This Politoed is Weather Ball Muddy Water, so all of its attacks are resisted by Rotom. Let's do clear request. Just doing a quick little judge issue. This is a best-of-3 tournament. Thanks for asking, Jamie LX. Alright, Tyranitar comes in, which means that Politoed's going to be forced to use either Weather Ball or Muddy Water. Sorry, Rock-type Weather Ball. Muddy Water comes out. It is going to be a +1 Muddy Water, so it's going to do good damage to both these Pokemon. It actually picks up the Delphox, which is a little surprising to me. Okay, it was a critical hit. Because it no longer gets that rain boost. Alright. Alright, Rotom comes back in. And now, Pighog, while they have taken a KO, finds themselves in a precarious situation. They've been encored on the Archaludon, which means that they're forced to use Electroshot. They will be able to fire off one more Electroshot this turn. They don't know what position it's going into, and they are locked on the field. Meanwhile, in order to get weather back up, they're going to have to potentially switch out. So the question is, hey, do I just swing with both my Pokemon this turn, or do I switch out my Politoed, which got its boosts up, and try and regain control of the weather? So we'll have to see how Pighog navigates the situation. They go for a Muddy Water. That also notably can give accuracy drops, so that is not a bad move to make here. Alright, speaking of accuracy drops, we see an accuracy drop on the Tyranitar. In order for that to get out of here, it's going to, or to lose that, it's going to have to switch out. We see a knockoff. This Archaludon just refuses to go down. It's taken so much damage, and now it's lost the leftovers. Volt Switch onto the Politoed. That +1 special defense is showing its strength here now. Able to tank that relatively easily. Alright, let's see who Code Beast brings in. Alright, Code Beast's final Pokemon is the Garchomp, and we do see the Electroshock come out. It looks like it is going to fire off into the Tyranitar. That is very fortunate for Pighog. The only thing now is that you have to choose, like, hey, I've got these boosted up Pokemon. Do I get them out of here? Like, I don't have my weather. I don't have the board control I was hoping for. But is it going to be... You guys are okay. Is this going to be a favorable situation overall? Come here. Sammy, come here. Good boy. You guys are okay. Alright, so while Pighog hasn't lost any Pokemon, they are finding themselves in a kind of difficult situation to navigate. All the boosts are on Pighog's side of the field, and the question is do you just stay in and just say, you know what, I'm going to get the maximum mileage from these Pokemon, or are you going to try and reposition and potentially get the weather back in your favor? But notably, if they do switch out, that's a turn that they're not doing damage and giving Code Beast the opportunity to come back into this game. So let's see what they choose to do. Archaludon does choose to switch out despite all the boosts, and we see Espathra rejoin the field. Alright, Politoed protects. Let's see what these Pokemon choose to do. We see an Earthquake come out. That is going to be good damage to Espathra, which would have been an Archaludon, but it is no longer. And we see a Volt Switch into the Politoed position, but it's not gonna connect because Politoed used Protect. All right, Espathra's Citrus Berry goes off, which means that it can probably take one more of those. And since it's switched in, its Speed Boost actually does not go off, which means that it's potentially the second slowest Pokemon. It really depends on how these Pokemon are trained. Generally, Garchomps can range quite drastically, and the potential for Espathra to be faster than Garchomp certainly is there. We do have Open Nature, so I can check. This is a Modest Espathra and a... Let's see... a Choice Scarf Garchomp. So this Garchomp is locked into Earthquake, and it is the fastest Pokemon on the field. It is Adamant Nature, so after a Protect, this Espathra could potentially outspeed this Garchomp. But will it be enough to bring it down? I don't anticipate that the Politoed will outspeed at +1, but one attack is all it takes in order to change this game in a big way. So let's see what Politoed chooses to do. Politoed does not survive the Earthquake. That is quite unfortunate. We actually haven't seen a Mega come out yet from Pighog's side of the field. So they've been doing a great job positioning and getting an early game lead. We'll have to see if it's enough to take them all the way, though. Okay, so Archaludon rejoins the field. We don't know who's faster, whether Garchomp or Espathra here, but we did see that Garchomp is locked into Earthquake and Light Screen is up, so it's going to be really difficult to remove this Garchomp. I imagine if the final Pokemon is Dragonite, then Pighog really doesn't have to worry about this Garchomp anymore. Also, is my audio coming through clearly? It's telling me that it's no long... Oh, no, there it is. I just have multiple mic settings, apparently. Never mind, we're good. Alright, Earthquake does come out. We'll have to see how Pighog chooses to target here. Earthquake does not remove the Espathra, but after Sand Chip or the possible attack from Rotom, that will probably be enough. Let's see who... Oh, we're gonna see a Baton Pass. We're passing the Speed Boost to who? To Appa, who is the Dragonite. Oh, excellent. And because this is a Choice Scarf Garchomp, they really don't need to worry about the Garchomp anymore. Because since it's locked into a ground move, it's never connecting with this Dragonite. So really, the only Pokemon that Pighog has to worry about is Code Beast Rotom. Because once Rotom is removed from the field, it's going to be just a Garchomp that can never connect with this Dragonite. And also notably, after Mega and a +1, I have to imagine that this Dragonite probably will outspeed the Garchomp too. Well, I guess it depends on how it's trained. It is trained with the Quiet Nature, which means that it has... Let's look that up. It's special attack, but is actually reducing speed. That's a really interesting nature to choose on a team where it's all about boosting your speeds. So, potentially not. Maybe at +1 it won't outspeed. I guess the idea here for the Quiet Nature is that you have extreme speed on Dragonite, so if you're going to... you don't want to lose any of your bulk, you don't want to lose any of your attack. Alright, we see Espathra Protect, wants to get another speed boost so that it has more control over this battle. We see an Earthquake come out. Is not going to connect on anything because we have a Levitating Rotom and a Flying Dragonite. Dragon Pulse comes out into the Rotom. One more hit will take that Rotom out of here, but we do see a Will-O-Wisp come out. That is one way to leverage the endgame. If you think that your Garchomp can survive the entire Dragonite's health bar, then there is a world where they can come out ahead, but it is looking like Pig Hog has everything they need in order to secure this game. We'll have to see how Code Beast responds. Code Beast does... Let me see. Code Beast does not have Protect on this Rotom, so it is likely going down this turn. We do see Earthquake comes out, plus... Hello, Santiago, 89. We do see that +1 Espathra does underspeed this Choice Scarf Garchomp, and that is going to be valuable information going into next game. We see Dragon Pulse come out, and the writing is on the wall. The game is over. We see that is game 1, and we're going to go to game 2 now. Piggy up 1-0. How are you doing, Santiago 89? I'm good. Good to hear. I'm glad to hear. Okay. And as you see, the Garchomp is locked into Earthquake. Notably, this is also good information that Garchomp can take a single Earthquake from this Dragonite, too. Alrighty. Now the question here is, I was going to say, do they see how much Extreme Speed does in this situation, or do they not risk it and just go for the victory? Go Espathra. Yeah, Pig Hog is a very big Espathra fan. Apparently, he's not the only one. Excellent. Espathra is a very cool Pokemon. And Code Beast has some cool Pokemon of their own. Specifically, I'm a Delphox fan, so it's fun to watch that. So we're going to have to see how Code Beast adapts. Obviously, having a Choice Scarf Earthquake Garchomp is a very powerful Pokemon, but if it's not positioned correctly, it can work against you. Yeah, Espathra is a very cool Pokemon. If you watched since the beginning of this game, you would have seen that Espathra is passing Speed Boost and Calm Minds over to its teammates. Something to note about Code Beast's team is that they do... Actually, I was going to say they have a lot of physical attackers, but really what it is they have their heavy damage dealing Pokemon are physical attackers, and while Delphox can deal heavy damage, it looks like Rotom and Sinestro are meant to function more as like a mixed supporting offensive role, and they're their special attackers. So I could see a world where Scovillain says, hey, I'm going to burn you, and you're going to have to deal with it. The only thing to note, though, is this Scovillain is weak to Rock-type moves and Poison-type moves, which Code Beast is not lacking. Every single one of their physical attackers has one of those moves, and if Tyranitar does Dragon Dance and then launches off a Rock Slide, that could potentially remove Scovillain from the field and enable a partner. Mega Delphox is really good. Oh, it is very good. It's very strong. I was going to say it's kind of slept on, but not anymore. It just did really well at the Turn Special event. So, Politoed! Seems like, in terms of Pokemon, Pig Hog is the favored in terms of, like, high-interest Pokemon. Alright, I was finishing up my set, but I saw Espathra shenanigans in top 8 of Indy the other week. Yeah, Espathra's real right now. I believe that William Brown used that team, and that's the team that inspired the team that Mac is using now, Pig Hog. Alright, so we're going to see a switch up on the leads. We see Sneasler and Garchomp on Code Beast's side, and Pig Hog is rocking an Espathra plus Dragonite. So one thing to note is that while Fake Out is heavily pressuring these Pokemon, Garchomp has learned from the last game, hey, I can't just lock into Earthquake. Especially sitting next to a Sneasler, I think it's highly unlikely that it locks into Earthquake. With that said, Garchomp's moves are... Stomping Tantrum, Rock Slide, and Dragon Claw. So I wouldn't be surprised to see either of those come out right now. Is Lumina Crash Espathra or Stored? This is a Lumina Crash Espathra. So it is lowering the special defense every time it connects with a Lumina Crash. Alright, so we see Sneasler remove itself from the battlefield, saying, hey, I have an idea of what I can do right now. Switches over to this Tyranitar. Tyranitar gets the Sandstream up, which is actually going to break Multiscale if it gets into position. Actually, no, it's not, because we're going to see that Dragonite has switched out. It looks like Pig Hog's intention here was, hey, you know what? I can make him choose to not use the ground-type move, and then I can bring in my Archaludon and get a defense boost. So excellent positioning from Pig Hog here. Honestly, a pretty scary sight to see if you are a Code Beast fan right now. That is really, this is really cool. Negate Draco drop. Yeah, Espathra can, yeah, there's a lot of synergies happening here. The other thing too is that they have Calm Mind, so they can get really powerful and then pass it to someone else. So we're gonna have to see what happens. Notably, this is a Citrus Berry Espathra, so the sand did hit it, but it's not gonna actually do anything too meaningful to it. We did see Garchomp lock into Rock Slide, and we did see last time that +1 Garchomp does outspeed Espathra, so there is also a world where flinchies do happen. But we're more likely than not going to see this Espathra either Calm Mind or Baton Pass its speed boost to somebody. I won my first set 2-0. Congratulations, Lexi. That's great to hear. Alright, let's see what the players choose to do. Also in this situation, there is a world where you switch Garchomp out because you're like, hey, I don't want to click Rock Slide anymore. And yes, we see the Rotom come in. Rotom was a really strong Pokemon last game because it was using a lot of Light Screens and Will-O-Wisps to mitigate damage. We see Baton Pass come out. We're going to pass a +1 speed boost to Politoed. The only thing to note here is that since this Tyranitar did not Mega this turn, and it does Dragon Dance, it does not actually, like, the weather has not been set up for it. So, or it did not choose to set up its weather, which means that next turn it's going to be able to switch what it is doing. Like, it can switch, sorry, let me, I'm too engrossed in the battle. It means next turn the Tyranitar is going to be able to Mega Evolve and then switch the weather back in its favor. Notably, the Tyranitar did outspeed the Archaludon before, and at +1 defense, I don't know that this Tyranitar has enough in the tank to remove this Archaludon, and I think that Politoed's kind of safe to just like either protect or do anything in this situation. Like this Tyranitar is pretty heavily threatened here. We could see a Light Screen plus Sandstorm come up, and that might be enough to save this Tyranitar. But the question is, like, are you going to get enough mileage out of your boosts if you don't start doing big damage now? Also, right now, Politoed is in a pretty safe position to click Protect, because, like, while Archaludon has high defense boost right now, Politoed does not. It does have a +1 to its speed, so if it wants to throw off a Muddy Water and just have both Pokemon double into the Rotom, that is a choice it can do. But we'll have to see. Rotom is not too heavily threatened by either Pokemon here, but Politoed does have the move Encore, so if Rotom chooses to use a move that is not very beneficial to its team, it could get locked into that. We do see Knockoff launch into Politoed. The Weather Setter does lose its Mystic Water. We see a Muddy Water come out, and it does not remove Tyranitar. That is pretty crazy. It just goes to show how much that special defense from the weather really does end up mattering. We see a Light Screen come out from Rotom. Yeah, that is huge damage for T-Tar. And we see a Dragon Pulse come out from Archaludon. It is +1, but it is not enough to remove the Rotom. It is going to get Citrus Berry, and it looks like all these Pokemon are here for the long haul. Notably, though, this Politoed can't stick around for much longer. We did see that as a Dragon Dance Tyranitar, so it is the fastest Pokemon. So it's kind of scary for Politoed. The question is, like, do you remove Politoed and risk, like, letting this Archaludon get damage into one of your other Pokemon? Or do you just say, you know what, Politoed, you've done your job, it's time to go down? We did see Light Screen come out from Rotom. So this team is going to be significantly more special, or bulkier on the special side. We'll have to see what both trainers choose to do. Both players are playing really well. No one's really pressing their advantage too hard or like letting the opponent swing too hard too fast. They're doing a really good job slow playing. All right, we do see Politoed protects here. It's going to take a little Sand Chip at the end of the turn, but not enough to remove it. Okay, that Knockoff did huge damage into the Archaludon, but that is another +1 to its defenses. And we see a Will-O-Wisp. Politoed could have gotten away without protecting, but let's see if it's enough. Let's see if it's a good turn overall. We see a Dragon Pulse come out, and that is going to be the removal of Tyranitar. So now, if Pickhog chooses to, they can get weather in their favor for the rest of the game. Alright, let's see what they choose to do. Also notably, if Politoed stays in for one more turn, it doesn't matter if it's attacked or not, it will be going down to the Sand Chip. Also, I love Rotom just carrying its little hose. Yeah, Sandstorm plus Light Screen Tyranitar is a crazy Pokemon. You get plus 50% boost to your special defense for the sand, and you get another plus 33% boost in double battles for Light Screen. So while those were super effective attacks, or like a super effective water type move, it was not enough to remove that Tyranitar. Alright, Light Screen is up. Neither of these Pokemon are super heavily threatened this turn. I have to imagine that we're probably going to see either a Fake Out or a Close Combat come out from the Sneasler, and we have seen that this Archaludon has taken a few attacks, so its defense is actually at +2. There's a chance it could survive a Close Combat, but it would be a close one. Doing some rank while waiting for my next match, and this dude running Vivillon Arbok, they're cooking. I was thinking why Archa don't Body Press, so I remembered. Yeah, Arch has actually lost Body Press, so it does not have that attack anymore. Tyranitar would be sweating a lot more in the face of Archaludon if it had that. Alright, we do see Politoed remove itself from the battlefield, and in its place, here comes the Espathra. Close Combat comes out. Is it enough to remove Archaludon? It is. Archaludon goes down, and we'll have to see what this Rotom chooses to do. Alright, Sneasler gets the White Herb, so now it is at +2 speed. Its speed has effectively been doubled. Hydro Pump does land into this Espathra. It does eat its Citrus Berry. Sneasler does take some chip. The issue here is, like, this Sneasler cannot take a Psychic type move. So the question is, can we get Sneasler in a position where it's going to take a Lumina Crash from this Espathra? Because if it can do that, then it's going to look a lot better for Pighog by the end of the game. Right now, Code Beast has done a really good job of leveraging their Pokemon and saying, you know what, I see your really offensive mode, but I'm going to play slow, I'm going to wait, I'm going to break through this bridge when the time is right, and the bridge is down. Politoed only has 11 health left and is most likely the slowest Pokemon on the battlefield, but what we do have to say about this is that the weather is finally back in Pighog's favor. So in order for each trainer to get what they want out of this, they have to be really careful here. Espathra, if left alone for too long, will actually be able to outspeed Sneasler, but because Pighog brought the rain back on to the field, that Rotom's Hydro Pumps might be able to actually remove Espathra now. Alright, we see Politoed Protect, and we see what from Espathra? We don't see Espathra attack. It does survive the attack, and it fires back a Lumina Crash saying, you know what, we're going to bring this down to a 2v2 situation. But I believe in my team. I think that they can go the distance. Honestly, did my man dirty removing his funny move? So true. Alright, we see a Volt Switch from Rotom trying to reposition here, but no dice. We already know that the final Pokemon in the back for Code Beast is Garchomp, and because Espathra has been able to leverage itself the way it has, it actually is going to be able to protect and then get to +2, and then it probably will be able to outspeed Garchomp. We're going to have to see. Code Beast does have more... Okay, so while Pighog does have the majority of the Pokemon remaining, they have 3 Pokemon, everyone that's left on Pighog's side of the field is so slow that it's a question of, hey, can we actually get enough mileage out of these Pokemon that are remaining? We see 2 Protects. The Protect fails on Politoed, but we do see a Dragon Claw target into that Espathra. Code Beast saying, hey, I bet there's a Dragonite in the back, and if you switch it in, you're going to have to take a super effective attack for your troubles. Alright, honestly, Espathra is really fast now. Yeah, with +2 speed, it is going to be the fastest Pokemon on the field. We have seen that this is a Choice Scarf Garchomp, and it is saying, hey, I bet there's Dragonite in the back, I'm locking into this move. Let's wrap this game up. Okay. So Espathra is at +2. Dragonite is currently big chilling. He hasn't done anything yet, but it does have the following moves. Let's look it over. Dragonite has Protect, Dragon Pulse, Hurricane, and Extreme Speed. So this Garchomp, I believe they are not still behind Light Screen. So the question is, do we think that Dragonite will be able to remove Garchomp with a singular Dragon Pulse? Because if it can, then you can start targeting into that what's this called? The Rotom with the other move. Garchomp takes that Lumina Crash really well. and fires back with a Dragon Claw into Espathra, saying, hey, you know what? I think my Rotom can handle Dragonite. I'm just removing you. You're the trouble one. We do also have a multi-scale Dragonite, yeah, so it's going to be really difficult for this Rotom with only electric and water moves to break through this hulking Dragonite here. I forgot the name. Yeah, Mega D-Knight does have... Oh, we do see a light screen come out. It's probably a little too late to actually be worth it, but we'll have to see. Rotom has half its health, Dragonite has full health, but it does have the multi-scale remaining, which means that it's effectively going to take half damage from the first move. But this Rotom doesn't have Thunderbolt. It does not. We're going to have to see Volt Switches do the job. We see Dragon Pulse come out. One more will be enough to finish it off. Here comes Volt Switch. Not doing too much damage to this Dragonite. Dragonite is pretty safe to launch out one last Dragon Pulse and end the game. Honestly, at this range, a Hurricane might be enough, but we'll have to see what they choose to do. Go with Espathra. Espathra was gaming, weren't they? All right, good job to the Dragonite. Both players played it really well, but Pighog was able to take that set 2-0. Honestly, you could see that. I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting their name correct. Code Beast was able to adapt really, really well going into Game 2, and I honestly believe if they were able to take Game 2, they had learned so much going into that set that they might have been able to take a Game 3. Like, it was night and day. They learned, and that's also kind of the negative of choice items. Not being super familiar with the matchup, or maybe they are, I'm not entirely sure. But Code Beast went in, said, you know what, I'm going for Earthquake, and because they locked into the move that didn't match well into the line that Pighog was bringing to the battlefield, they were basically on the back foot for the majority of the game. And then in the second set, they were like, hey, I learned from my mistake, I'm not just going to be brash with it. But actually, because of that, Pighog conditioned them, said, hey, you're not going to click Earthquake. I just played this way last game and you lost because of it. I'm switching Archaludon in on this Garchomp, and I'm actually making that my benefit. So, well played by both players. We have 2 games that are unresolved here, so we're going to pop...
say that turn could have absolutely gone horribly for me.
Yeah, if the Pighog's joined the chat. But yeah, if they just clicked Earthquake in the face of Pighog's moves there, it could have been potentially much worse. Sometimes you just have to stand pat and be like, I know that this is the wrong play based on what I see in front of me, but I bet it's actually pretty good. 211 11k VP is diabolical. Turns out when you host tournaments and play all the time, you get a lot of VP. Who knew? Let's see. Alright, we're going to do private battles, and we're going to type in this code, and we're going to see if we get to watch the how this set resolves. 1566. Yeah, and the sad thing is you can't even share resources like you could in other games, so it's like, this is all my VP. Like, I can't be like, oh, I'll help you build your team, friends. No. But I can probably rent teams pretty easily now. Alright, let's see. Alright. It looks like we're coming to the conclusion of this battle here. It's Sneasler versus, it looks like, potentially King Gambit, Sneasler, and Rotom, but I believe there might have been a KO. We'll have to see. Oh no, okay, it is a Sneasler, one Sneasler versus the world. We're gonna have to see if they have what it takes to go the distance. If there's any Pokemon that can do it, it is Sneasler though. We did just see that Nate Sneasler entered the battlefield this turn, which means that they have Fake Out Pressure online, so Sneasler is forced to protect here. What's the Arbok even doing? Good question, Dan. They're using Intimidate at least, I know that much. We see coaching, saying, you know what? Since you pretty much have to Fake Out here, or dodge my Fake Out here, I'm just gonna coach my Rotom and go for a Will-O-Wisp. Monday Night Gaming, welcome Meg, we are gaming. All comes down to a sneeze. And we all know, if there's a sneeze, there's a way. So, all we have to see is, okay, hold on, let me check how Nate Dogg's Sneasler set up. They are Fake Out Coaching, Close Combat, Dire Claw. Alright, Rotom protects. Does TT read into this? Oh, this Rotom's getting bulky, but you know what? There is the potential that you can get a crit on it, or use Dire Claw to put it to sleep. We see Close Combat target into the protecting Rotom. Oh no! Things are getting more and more difficult for this Rotom, but crits are a thing and can happen. Arbok's purpose is to set up opponents' gambits, lol. If there's a sneeze, there's an Achew. True. So true. So Achew. Alright, spam Gunk Shot and Poisons. I wish I could record full matches. Led with Vivian to Tailwind. Had Garchomp, Mega, and Tyranitar in the back. Very cool. Alright, we see Close Combat come out from this Sneasler. No crit this time, unfortunately. Alright, we see White Herb go off. The Sneasler's now going to be the fastest Pokemon on the field. Another coaching comes out from Sneasler. This washing machine is going to be the biggest washing machine of all time. We do see Will-O-Wisp come out. This Sneasler's getting more and more difficult. You know what? Here's the thing, though. They are boosting this Rotom so it cannot go down. They're playing it really, really defensively. But the thing is, when you play it that defensively and you can just take the KO, there's always the chance that you're going to get hit by a critical hit. Shiny Rotom is beautiful. We also don't know how much health that Kingambit has, so maybe this is the most optimal line for them. Alright, we see Wash Wash protect itself. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Sneasler switches to Dire Claw and just says, hey, oh my god, this washing machine is getting so beefy. This washing machine has been coached so many times, you might as well put it in a training montage. Normally calling something washed is a bad thing, but not for this Rotom. So true. Yeah, it was unnecessary risk. But TT decides, you know what, hey, I don't need to play this out. I see the writing on the wall. But the truth is, though, if your opponent's ever doing that to you, there is the chance you can just hit a good old crit. I have an ear infection, but I can tank it for Pokemon Champions. Well, don't hurt yourself here. Okay, that is the end of our round 1, so let me pair our second round. Alright, pairing the next round. Of all the shiny, the Rotoms is in my top 10 for the most cool shinies. I do like when they do like a full color change. That is always cool. Ooh, the power just flashed for a second. I hope that that's not anything too bad. Alright. We're gonna do tournament round... Oop. At tournament round update. Tournament round updates. Round 2 is up. Cool. Yeah, Rotom is a cool shiny. So, while I do like Feraligatr, it's not like a top favorite. I think its shiny is really cool. I really like that blue helmet when it megas. I hate that winning animation at the end when the trainer should be holding a Pokeball, but their hand is empty. What, you don't like the claw? Seviper still win, but Rotom is cool. Okay, yeah, Seviper's pretty cool. Alright, we're going to do... Let's check in on VGC Dan and Pit Sniffing. We're going to check in on their games. If you're here in the chat, just make sure to mute yourself so that you're not getting any extra, like, additional feedback. I don't want to be the voice in your ear that's messing with you and choosing to, or making it, I don't want to influence your play. But you can always come back and watch the games afterwards and grow from them, so... They will be on Twitch and they will be on YouTube. Alright, and we are checking in on... This is Pit Sniffing, who is also known as Ivy, and VGC Dan. Wait, why is it empty? That happens in private battles. This is a private battle. It's empty because they built the room, but they haven't actually joined the room yet. So they're joining the room now. So we're spectating. And, oh, okay, so Dan's brought a really interesting team. They've got a Mega Chandelure team plus Primarina, and Ivy's got a Mega Floette Charizard Venusaur team. So we have a more traditionally meta team versus a more off-meta team. But Chandelure has Flash Fire. So this off-meta team could be the perfect call into a team like this. We'll have to see how they play it. And also, they have the Ice Cream Cone. So that's also exciting. We got Vanillux here. Just barely missed round 2, lol. Well, round 2 just started. So if you want to join, it might not be too late. Alright, I'm also going to make sure that I have all... Oh, I have 2 match issues I need to address real quick. Oopsie. Okay, sorry, I will give commentary in just a second. Alright, hold on. I had to put on my team sheet here. Talonflame had a random Megastone to be able to submit, lol. You just tell your opponent before the rounds begin, and it should be a-okay, okay? I apologize. I will be with you all in just a second. I'm solving some judge issues. Where'd they go? It's not popping up. Stefano, okay. I'm trying to. Alright. April. Alright, we're back. Okay. Alright. I'm focused in now. Okay, so we see that Incineroar is currently facing down Vanillux and Sneasler. Sneasler is Vanillux is blasting a blizzard into both these Pokemon. Incineroar is at half health, and it looks like Dan is in a pretty commanding position here. It looks like we've already seen that Chandelure and Floette are in this game. And with Garchomp removed, one of the biggest threats of Chandelure is off the board. Alright, let's see. Okay, I have to log out all these things. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so everyone's in their games. Excellent. Alright, so we see Sneasler facing down Floette and Incineroar. I believe that the Sneasler just... No, Sneasler's been on the battlefield. Incineroar has just entered, which means it has active Fake Out, so it is pressuring both slots, which means that this Floette does have the opportunity to set up a Calm Mind. The only thing is, it's really difficult to set up a Calm Mind in the face of a Sneasler when that Sneasler can blast you. So, we see Chandelure re-enters the battlefield. The thing to know about Chandelure is, while it does take fire attacks really well, it is weak to that Dark-type Incineroar. Dazzling Gleam will be enough to remove Vanillux and do decent damage into the Chandelure. But that's going to mean that Sneasler can come back into the battlefield pretty healthy, and also with a Fake Out. I almost said Fack Out. With Fake Out online. Alright. Okay, is there a problem with Pokemon without items not being allowed to be submitted? I had put on my team sheet Talonflame with a random Megastone to be able to submit, LOL, 25 hours, LMO. I don't know if that would be an issue with the Limitless program. Usually if there's a team sheet error, when you click submit, it will tell you there's a team sheet error. So, or like it'll tell you that like, hey, this does not comply. So it shouldn't be a problem. Alright, we see Close Combat come out from this this Sneasler. Incineroar only at half health was never going to take that move. And it's a critical hit to boot, so that's super, super, super gone Incineroar. Alrighty. Chandelure decides, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to Calm Mind. I resist this Floette anyway. It does take a Dazzling Gleam. Sneasler is Sash, so it will survive. Or maybe it's not Sash. Maybe it just survived just as is. Alright, we see the last Pokemon is Sinestcha. So the question is, can this Floette blast through this calm-minded Chandelure, or is this Chandelure about to blow away all these Pokemon? Also, another Dazzling Gleam would be able to remove this Sneasler, but it looks like there's at least one more Pokemon in the back for Dan. So we'll have to see how these two trainers choose to play it out. Sneasler going for a Protect, saying, hey, you know what? Chandelure is going to remove that Sinestcha, and when that Sinestcha's gone, I'm about to become a really big problem for you. It told me it was a problem with Talonflame, so I knew the error was there. Couldn't find an issue besides there being no item, and it let me through just fine when I added it. I'm not sure how you're supposed to add no item Talonflame. Generally in my tournaments, what I am okay with people doing is if they put the wrong item in before a set, like, you can tell your opponent what it's supposed to be. Are you in the tournament, Hunter? Alright, and the battle ends with a forfeit because Floette is pinned between this Chandelure and this, Sneasler. Let's see, pairings. Alrighty. And they're gonna go to a game 2, and it looks like Dan took the first game. Yeah, I just entered late. Are you Big Hunt? Or what is your tag? Let me see. Oops. See, Talonflame. It is showing up on my screen that you have Gardevoir. That's fine. Just tell your opponent that it's supposed to be like no item when you pair into them next game. That's okay. I have not ever gone into a tournament with any Pokemon with no item. I know it is meta on Talonflame, but just in my tournament, it's okay to just write, this Talonflame has no item. And if they request Judge, I will tell them that you're totally good. Alright, so we see this time Sneasler and Chandelure are led into Garchomp plus Sinestcha. Alright, so right now this Garchomp is, let's see, does this Sinestcha have Protect is the first question on my mind. Sinestcha is removing itself from the field saying, you know what, I can't deal with this, I'm getting out. And in its place, here comes Charizard. We do see a Mega come out from Chandelure saying, hey, you know what? I don't care about resisting Fire-type damage or having immunity to Fire-type damage with Flash Fire. I'm just going for the big damage right away. We see Fake Out come out from this Sneasler into this Garchomp. Garchomp is the next Pokemon to move, so we know that the speed order is at least going in that direction. We see a miss. I don't know who Rough is, but that does a little bit of damage to Garchomp. Can we see a burn? No burns. Let's see. So, Ivy taking more damage than Dan, but in a much, much more favorable board position after choosing to make the moves they made. Alright, we see Chandelure Protect saying, hey, I don't really want to take an Earthquake. That sounds not ideal for me right now. Earthquake comes out. You guys are okay. Earthquake comes out from this Garchomp. It's probably either a Scarf or a... Come here, doggies. Let's see. All right, so this Garchomp is Scarf, so it is going to be clicking that, yeah, surprise dog cameo. They scared me a little bit there. Let's see. So these Earthquakes are really threatening here, but to deal with them, we see that VGC Dan has the powerful Choice Scarf Vanillix, a pretty good counter to a Garchomp. So they do have Freeze Dry, Weather Ball, Blizzard, and Chilling Water. The question is, what do they choose to use here? Because if they click Blizzard into this Charizard, which is going to be setting the sun, that is an inaccurate move, and if you miss that Garchomp, it's going to be a very rough turn for you. OMG, is that Mac's brother? I am Mac's brother, that is correct. Oh, it looks like Earthquake does connect on these Pokemon. Garchomp is faster than this Vanillix. We do see Freeze Dry come out. And I have to imagine the next fastest Pokemon is going to be Charizard. And we're going to see Dan in a really, really difficult position here. And also OMG is that Lazy Warlock. We see Chandelure Calm Mind, but it might be too little too late here. Alright, let's see. Here comes Weather Ball. Maybe not. Maybe this is exactly what Dan needs to stay in the game. We also did see that Dan's Chandelure does outspeed the Charizard. So a Calm Mind Sun boosted Heat Wave from this Mega Chandelure might be enough to just secure this game. We'll have to see who the final Pokemon remaining are for Ivy and Dan. We know that there's at least a Sinestro, so let's see. Who is Dan's final Pokemon? Alright, we see Sinestro come in and he's going to heal this Charizard up. And we see King Gambit. What Pokemon is that? That is a Sinestro. Or which one? Chandelure being faster than Charizard is wild. So this is a really interesting board state, because normally like this super boosted Heat Wave from Chandelure would do a ton of damage to both Pokemon, and it will do a ton of damage to this Sinestro, but I feel like if you were able to do Sucker Punch plus Heat Wave, it would probably be enough to remove everything. But the thing is, this Sinestro can click Rage Powder, which means even though Heat Wave is a spread attack, it's going to redirect that Sucker Punch away from Charizard, keeping it safe in an endgame where you have Charizard and King Gambit versus each other. I would rather be the the Charizard player. I mean the game, sorry. This is Pokemon Champions. Always thought Chandelure had Levitate for whatever reason. It makes sense that you would think that with it levitating off the ground, but nope, Chandelure, unfortunately. Ooh, takes the Heat Wave. Alright, I looked away. I didn't see what Chandelure went for and how much damage it did. The battle does end in a forfeit, and we are going to a Game 3. So, we did see Dan won Game 1 pretty convincingly, and then Ivy said, you know what, I'm going to make some adjustments, and I am going to take this Game 2. Now the question is, will Dan be able to adjust back and find the answer to this set? Yeah, I don't blame you for thinking that Chandelure has Levitate, because most Pokemon that are off the ground look like they would be able to fly, like dodge earthquakes. Does redirected Sucker Punch still hit if the initial target picks a damaging move? No. So if I clicked if that board state Sinestro clicked Rage Powder, it just said Sucker Punch gets directed towards Sinestro, and the game says Sinestro did not attack. You cannot attack Sinestro. So if they just went for Sucker Punch into Charizard on that turn, it would have connected. So that was a bit of a crazy endgame situation there. There was some Rage Powder Protect mind games at play for sure. Also, Chandelures are classically levitating items. So true, Meg. So true. So this Pokemon game is your own Pokemon from any game to Pokemon Home and versus other people, and that's it. That's it. There is no story Trills Kage. It's just Pokemon battles. This is like competitive Pokemon the game. All right, so we see a little bit of a different lead here. We see Vanillux come out in the beginning. That's so sick. Yeah, a lot of people are really happy with it. So if this is a Scarf Vanillux, it is not going to outspeed this Venusaur when Sun goes up, though. So we're going to see how Dan adapts. Notably, before it Mega Evolves, though, Chandelure is actually immune to Fire-type moves. So this could be a trap set by Dan. Like, hey, if you click Heat Wave, you might be giving me a more powerful Chandelure, and I think this might be the play we see. Chandelure does enter the battlefield, but most notably, like, this Venusaur, we don't see Heat Wave come out. This Venusaur can pretty freely just click Sleep Powder. Alright, we see Double Protect saying, hey, I don't want to risk, like, getting faked out. And Fake Out does come out. We have Snow in the back, though, so it's like, hey, if you set your Sun with Charizard, I'm going to bring in my Ice Cream Cone, and I want to see how you deal with that. So, we do see this Vanillux is kind of creating a difficult situation for this Charizard Venusaur team. This turn, they're definitely guaranteed to get Sun off, but is it going to be enough to, like, get them a bunch of mileage in this game? We see Venusaur remove itself from the battlefield saying, you know what, I'll come back later. I don't need to be here right now. We see Charizard does Mega Evolve. And the question is, do they go for Heat Wave or do they go for the Weather Ball into Venusaur? Or sorry, into Chandelure. We see Protect from Chandelure. What do we see from this Sneasler. We see Dire Claw. This is Scarf Garchomp, notably the most difficult Pokemon for Dan to deal with. There is no status. There is a Weather Ball, though. And that Sneasler is going to go down. Dan is now down a Pokemon, but because they just lost a Pokemon, they're going to be given a free switch in. So the question is, who's going to come in? And that is going to be Vanillix the Great, the biggest ice cream money can buy. Okay, so now on this turn, they're kind of in a predicament, right? This Garchomp can't protect. We did see that Chandelure did outspeed Charizard last game, but do you really want your Chandelure to take an Earthquake from this Garchomp? That's a lot of damage. I wouldn't be surprised to see Pokemon start to be withdrawn this turn. We see King Gambit come in. Another Pokemon that really doesn't want to take an Earthquake, but can probably take it a bit better than Chandelure. And I think Dan identifying, like, hey, if I can get to an endgame where it's just my Chandelure versus just their Charizard and Venusaur, I'm going to win. We do see Rock Slide come out, known for flinching, does not flinch this time, and it looks like we're going to have to say bye-bye to Garchomp. With one more Pokemon gone, that's another Pokemon that can't get switched out next turn. So this Charizard might be saying, you know what, I think that I just have to accept that the weather is going to be staying snowy. We're not we're not going to be in a sunshine world. We're living in the snow. Unless, let's see who the final Pokemon is. It is Sinestro. None of these Pokemon really want to take Blizzards, and we're in a similar situation to last game, where, like, neither of these Pokemon really want to take a Heat Wave. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chandelure come in on one of these spots. King Gambit does have full health, though, which means it might be able to take the Heat Wave from Charizard, depending on how it's trained. We see Sinestro leave the battlefield, Venusaur coming in his place, Garchomp protecting, and Chandelure, or it looks like our Ice Cream Cone's going to stay in and just say, hey, let's get Frosty. Big Blizzard comes out, does not remove this Venusaur, notably. Heat Wave does come out, does it connect into this Ice Cream Cone? It does. Oh my goodness. So now we are in an endgame situation where it is Chandelure plus King Gambit versus all three Pokemon. It's Venusaur, Sinestro, and Charizard. Notably, Chandelure does have full HP and is completely immune to Fire-type moves, and right now this Charizard's only attacking moves are Heat Wave, which is a Fire-type move, Solar Beam, which can't be used with the Sun active or inactive, and Weather Ball, which is an Ice-type move. So Chandelure offensively is in a really good position. Meg says hi, puppy. This is Haley. Alright. Chandelure is in a fantastic position with the ability to click Heat Wave into both of these Pokemon here. We do see a Mega. It is sacrificing its immunity to Fire-type moves. We'll have to see if that ends up being a problem going forward. But the thing is like, hey, you may have lost that immunity, but man, oh man, are you going to be hitting harder now for it. So let's see. We see a Sucker Punch come out from King Gambit. It does end up failing. We see Heat Wave come out from Sinestro. Is it going to be enough to remove this Sinestro? Or sorry, from Heat Wave coming out from Chandelure. It does not remove Sinestro. Honestly, could potentially be a good thing that it does not, because what's going to happen now is, like, they have to switch in their Charizard in order to recast the Sun, which will then make Venusaur the fastest Pokemon. So, like, right now, we're in this weird end game where it's like, you gotta go for Sleep Powders, you gotta, like, hope they connect, and also you gotta bring your Pokemon in and take big, big chunks of damage for the troubles. So, Mega Evolving did not put that Sinestro out, so it is still here. We see Charizard is going to return, the model for paintings. It does set the Sun. We see Chandelure protect, trying to dodge this Sleep Powder. We're going to see how these Pokemon attack. Both Pokemon go for a protect, saying, you know what, I just want to scout what's going on here. And we see Sinestro just goes for a Rage Powder. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in a similar situation to last time, where now King Gambit has to play those Sucker Punch mind games again. And because it clicked Protect, it can't just wait out and say, hey, Chandelure, you deal with this. It's looking really difficult for Dan here. While Chandelure does have full health, Heat Wave is going to do damage to it, and then, honestly, with Sleep Powder on Venusaur or Earth Power, it might just be enough to finish this game. Alright, King Gambit goes for the double protect and gets it. It's a 30% chance for that to happen, or a 33% chance. We see Rage Powder come out. Let's see what Sinestro Chandelure does. Heat Wave comes out. That is going to connect into both. It's going to do good damage to Charizard, not enough to remove it. I imagine we're going to see Heat Wave here because without Flash Fire, it can just do damage to this this Chandelure. Instead of opting for Weather Ball, potentially Ivy here is forgetting that Sinestro is no longer immune to Fire-type moves. Or maybe like they're like, hey, I really don't want to deal with this Kingambit. It is a tough Pokemon. I don't want to risk it staying alive or Heat Wave missing. Let's just end this Pokemon right here, right now. So now the question here is like, Kingambit can go for another Protect, but that's going to get even less likely to succeed. We see Chandelure go for a Protect. What does Kingambit do? Charizard also goes for a Protect. What does Kingambit goes for a Sucker Punch? What does this Venusaur do? Goes for a Sleep Powder. Okay. A very, like, kind of nothing happened turn, but it does change the board state in a bit of a way. Harsh Sunlight is slowly ticking down. We only have 2 more turns where Venusaur is going to be extremely fast, and the Fire-type moves are going to do as much damage as they're doing right now. So we see Sucker Punch come out. The Charizard does go for a move, and it is going to go down. And now it is going to be a 2v1. Venusaur goes for a Sleep Powder. It does connect into Chandelure, so it's going to survive at least this turn. But now Venusaur has a lot of work on its plate here. With only a little bit of health remaining, and 2 Pokemon that are really healthy here, Venusaur basically has to leverage Sleep turns and Protects and call, like, the next 4 turns perfectly in order to thread the needle here. It's going to be really difficult for it to make it out of here alive. Kingambit does go for Sucker Punch. That is going to give Venusaur an opportunity here to click Sleep Powder. Now the question is, does Chandelure wake up this turn? Chandelure stays asleep. Chandelure is guaranteed to wake up next turn. And the question is now that the Sunlight is inactive, who's faster? This Venusaur or the Chandelure? This is a timid Chandelure, so it is trained it's probably trained in its speed. It definitely has a speed boosting nature, or I believe it's called training alignment now, or stat alignment. Kingambit is fast asleep, goes for another Sucker Punch. Chandelure is faster, does wake up, and does launch off a big Heat Wave. It connects, and that is going to be the end for Venusaur. Well played by both Ivy and Dan, but Dan is going to be able to take this game 2-1. Let's see. Good job to both players. What damage can this Vena do? It actually does have Earth Power, so it had options to hit both for super effective. Alright. Stat alignment is so weird. I don't know why they can't just say nature. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense, like, to say stat alignment. Like, that's what you're doing. Yeah, that was a clutch win. It was a well-played game by both players. Unknown wins this match. Okay. I have a new subscriber, Floridian Imp. Greatly appreciated. Hope you're having a good time watching. Honestly, that endgame was so stressful. It was pretty stressful to watch, too. I was worried for you that the Venusaur was going to thread the needle. It was a great game to watch, though. Alrighty. Thank you for Floridian Imp. Greatly appreciated. Let's see. Okay. We do have a few games that are ongoing, so we're going to pop in on Lego versus Lexi VGC. And we're going to see how that's going over there. We are jumping in mid-set, so it is likely that the games are probably, like, we already have one game done, and we're going to be mid-game. So there's a chance we'll be able to catch a game 3 from the beginning, but we'll have to see how this goes. Thanks for the tourney, I am. Alright. Yeah, it was a close end game. Honestly, I was really thinking you weren't going to Mega your Chandelure. I thought you were going to keep that Flash Fire. Yeah, you were really playing really well. Alright, so we see Lego is rocking a Mega Delphox plus Zarina team, whereas Lexi is rocking a Mega Charizard plus Floette team. Both players are really strong, or have really strong teams, so we're gonna have to see how they do. It is a 1-1 set, so both players have won one game already, or one set. So we'll have to see how it goes. Currently, Lego is up a game, and it looks like these are the final Pokemon on the board for both players. So we'll have to see how Garchomp and Delphox navigate playing against a Whimsicott and a Charizard. Alright, we do see Tailwind goes off here. Let's see how much health the opponent's Pokemon have. Garchomp goes for Earthquake. It must be Scarf for it to outspeed everything, unless Lego wouldn't have Tailwind. That wouldn't happen. Alright, we do see the next Pokemon to move is Charizard with Air Slash. It does connect. It does pick up this Delphox, and now it is going to be a 2 versus 1. This Garchomp did outspeed. I have to imagine it had to be Scarfed in order for it to outspeed in Tailwind. So we are going to see, we are going to a game 3 here. I just panicked and went for more speed. I didn't realize Chandelure got more speed when it Mega'd. It makes sense, and it ended up working out well for you when the sun expired, because then you were outspeeding Venusaur. Thank you very much, so were you, Boof. Honestly, those are the kind of sets you love to watch, because, like, it swung both ways. Like, you walk away, you're like, there's a lot of respect between both players. Also, it looks like the way my camera is set up, Floette is the size of, like, a small handbag that is behind me. Like, it just completely gets covered out. Or is that? Yeah, it's like a little bag on top of a PC. I completely lost track of Sun turns, which is a problem. Means I can play the endgame better versus Gambit at the end. Yeah, something to note is if you're like... Okay, so obviously the Sun is always like 5 turns unless you have like a Heat Rock, but that's not in the game currently. Something that I like to do that helps me to play better and just like keep a good pace is you can do this in spectator mode, so I'm about to show you right now. Is like, okay, we see the board state, you can click X and you can check how much like turns of whatever are remaining. So clearly there's nothing going on. I have to imagine, since this is a Whimsicott, next turn we'll probably be seeing Tailwind or Sun or something, and you can check how much everything has remaining. It's really important to always be tracking how much time is left on each thing. It's a lot to juggle, or on the field conditions, it's a lot to juggle, so I understand forgetting about it, especially when you're like, if this person does this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and then you also have to manage field conditions on top of it, it's a lot, so I get it. Yeah, no sweat there, Dan. Yeah, you're obviously like a pretty seasoned player. You come to a lot of these. I'm just saying, like, since we have a lot of new players in the audience, pointing things out like that is always a good thing. Alright, so we see Zarina enters the battlefield. Doesn't really want to take a wave crash. Or actually, you know what? Maybe potentially wants to block an Encore, or just say, you know what, Whimsicott, you can't just, like, control the battlefield here. We see Aqua Jet come out from Basculegion. Queenly Majesty is going to block that. Is that a Scarf Basculegion is the next question. It looks like it is just a Mystic Water Basculegion, but this Whimsicott and Basculegion are going to take a lot of damage for their troubles here. Moonblast coming into what was formerly the Garchomp spot. It's going to do a decent amount of damage, but not enough to take the KO here. So now, this Whimsicott only has 1 HP, but Lego was able to take a lot of damage for their troubles and also position Zarina in here. Notably, is this a Scarf Zarina? This is an Akaberry Zarina with an Impish nature. Impish, I believe, is defense boosting. With... Let me see. Impish. I need to remember all of these. Alright. Impish is defense boosting. Yes, minus special attack. Alright, so Tailwind is now up. Zarina goes for a knockoff. It does not connect into Basculegion because they go for a protect. And now this Delphox is in a pretty compromised position here. Like, honestly, even the Zarina's in a pretty compromised position. You can check how many turns of Tailwind are left. There are 3 turns of Tailwind left. So basically, Lego has to navigate. How do I remove this Whimsicott? And also, like, not get locked into Encore on one of my Pokemon. And also, manage these turns and not, like, get completely swept in this Tailwind. Alright, Delphox having just protected last turn is really, really susceptible to going down to Wave Crash. But in the event that they do go for a Wave Crash, they're going to take a lot of recoil, and Zarina will be able to fire back at them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see... Oh, we actually see a switch out from Whimsicott saying, hey, you know what, you look like you'll be trouble for later. We see Garchomp the Teeny come in. A double switch in Tailwind, a very, like, really defensive play. Potentially saying, you know what, I think that you have to switch out Lego. Looks like he does. And we do see that these Pokemon come in, and the board has really changed here. Trop Kick into Charizard, calling that Zarina is going to go for it, only does a little bit of damage because Charizard quad resists grass-type attacks. So... now it looks like Lexi is really on the front foot, putting a lot of pressure down on Lego, saying, hey, you could have just attacked with both your Pokemon there, but I'm calling that you will not do it. Alright. That was a very, very proactive play by Lexi that could have been punished, but they really... in their three-game set, they've really gotten a feel of how Lego chooses to play, and that really, like, forward positioning move has put them in a really good spot, I'd say. Let's see what kind of Basculegion Lego has. Basculegion on Lego's side is a... let me see. Lego has a Mystic Water Basculegion, so it is probably pretty heavily threatened by Solar Beam here. Alright, so they go for a Protect, saying, hey, you know what, I can stall out Tailwind turns, I can stall out Sun turns. Zarina actually does survive this Poison Jab, which is going to give it a chance to fire back. We're going to have to see what it does. Actually, no, Lexi just reading every single move Lego has, saying, you know what, I'm not going to give you an inch. Also, we did see that this Charizard has Air Slash. Even though it is a stab type, or a stab move, it's not a very commonly seen move in the current meta. They chose not to have Weather Ball for Air Slash. So they decided, hey, all my Fire type damage is going to be spread. There is no single target attack for Fire type damage. We see Garchomp enter the field here. Notably, Lego's Garchomp is a Choice Scarf Garchomp, so depending on how this Charizard is trained, it could potentially be faster. It also has access to the move Rock Tomb, so we'll have to see what Lego chooses to do here. Lexi doing a really good job of just really not letting Lego get away with anything. Saying, you know what, you can try and take an inch, but I'm going to just completely control this battlefield. Alright, we see Charizard go for a Protect. Aqua Jet coming into the Basculegion in Sun, going to do extremely little damage. Dragon Claw from Garchomp, is it going to be enough? It is going to be enough with that critical hit, but notably, there is a Pokemon on Lexi's side of the field that is completely immune to Dragon-type moves, and it probably wants to come in here and say, hey, we just finished our Tailwind. How do you feel about 4 more turns of that? Notably, they will have to give up their Whimsicott because Lego can click Aqua Jet, but they're going to end up in a situation where it's going to be hard for Lego to remove this Whimsicott and also all the other Pokemon on Lexi's side of the field. I wouldn't be surprised to see this Basculegion potentially go for something like a Last Respects or an Aqua Jet into Charizard just to get more damage onto it, but we'll have to see what they choose to do. We see Aqua Jet come out. It does go into Whimsicott saying, hey Whimsicott, I don't want to have to deal with you. I want to be able to click my Dragon-type moves into this Charizard, and I don't want to have to switch this Garchomp out later. Notably, this Garchomp does outspeed Charizard. We do see Solar Beam come out. Is it going to be enough to remove this Mystic Water Basculegion? I have to imagine it will be, but we have to see. It is not. That is one more turn that Lego can stall out this Tailwind and get this Delphox into a better position. We see Pokemeg says they're also an Air Slash enjoyer. I like the flinch chance and flying stab. I completely get that. Alright, so Lego's Garchomp is a Choice Scarf Garchomp, but Lexi's is not. Lexi pretty freely can click Earthquake plus Protect on Charizard here, and then the following turn just click Dragon Claw into Garchomp. So we'll have to see how this ends up playing. Because Delphox is already Mega, there is the opportunity for Delphox to switch in here and say, hey, I think you're going to click Earthquake, so I'm going to dodge and I'm going to get a position where my Scarf Garchomp can finish out this endgame. Let's see if LEGO decides if it's worth it to switch out, or if LEGO says, you know what, I think my Garchomp's bulky enough to take the 2 attacks. We see Dragon Claw come out from Garchomp. It's not enough to remove it. Rough skin damage on Lexi's Garchomp. We know for a fact this Garchomp's faster. Goodbye, Garchomp. And now there's only one Pokemon carrying all of Lexi's hopes and dreams on its shoulders. And it's going to take a sudden wave crash for its troubles. Not going to do too much damage, but hey, damage is damage. Rough Skin is going to actually remove Basculegion. And now we have a very low health Garchomp and a Delphox staring down Lexi's Garchomp. Alright, notably, LEGO does have full health on this Delphox. Does Lexi's Garchomp have Rock Slide? It does. This is 4 attack Roselli Berry Garchomp. There are 2 turns of Tailwind left. We can check that by looking at the top or by checking the state of the match. There's only 1 turn left of Harsh Sunlight. I think that Lexi's play here is just click Rock Slide and hope that this flinches Delphox. Alright, Delphox does survive this. If it can fire off an attack this turn, it should be the end of the game. We'll have to see. We do see a Psychic come out. Does Garchomp survive? It does not survive, and after that extremely close game, it is going to come to an end. Well played by both Lexi and LEGO. Honestly, a fantastic set, and it was a fun one to watch. This dog's been sitting in my lap, and it's been passing gas. Ooh. Alright, and with that, LEGO was able to win that set. We have 1 match issue. Let me make sure that that is taken care of. Clear the request. Alright, it looks like there is only 1 game that is still ongoing. Air Slash Zard Y is so fun. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty fun to, like, play. I was always an Air Slash guy myself as well. We're gonna pop in on their room real quick and see what's going on. They haven't reported any games, so I might have to do some executive judge things here. Let's just check in. Alright. It looks like they're playing, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Some people just wait to report their scores till after the set is over. I have to imagine we're in game 3 here, though. Alright, so, oh my gosh, look at how low everyone's health is. Alright, Whimsicott goes for a Protect. Notably, it can't use Encore in front of Farigiraf because Farigiraf's ability, Armor Tail, does block all priority moves. We do see a Psychic Noise come out from Farigiraf. I have to imagine that it is in Trick Room. And a Dark Pulse come out from Blastoise. Alright. We can check the board state. There is 1 last turn of Trick Room remaining. And both Minnie's Pokemon are very low health. Notably, Rockwell doesn't look like they've had a KO taken yet. Like, all their Pokemon are doing really well. Minnie is going for probably 2 double protects. Does not get either of them. Unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be the end for Minnie's 2 Pokemon. Here comes a Psychic Noise. And then I have to imagine we're going to see a Dark Pulse or a Water Spout followed up by Blastoise. Dark Pulse. And now it is Charizard versus the world. And I don't think that even with speed control on their side, it's going to be enough because, yeah, in the matchup of Turtle versus Frog versus Dragon, Turtle wins against the Dragon. Yep. Let's see. Problem with Air Slash Zard is the Fire Weather Ball is just doing as much damage to resist. Only relevant thing that Air Slash is better against is the opposing Zard. That and also Air Slash can flinch. So that is the other good thing about running Air Slash. Alrighty, we're gonna go to our 3rd set now. We're cruising. Alright, let's do... Alright, let's see. I'm going to announce to our good people. Tournament round updates. Round 3 is up. Excellent. Alrighty. we are going to jump in on, let's see. You know what? Let's do a weird Pokemon that's doing well. I'm gonna look for. Okay, there are actually 2 Vanilluxe in this tournament, and they're both going 2-0. Like, they've both been doing well. So let's check in on another. Oh my gosh. Okay, I know what set we're doing. Oh my gosh, just wait. Hopefully everybody's here because this could potentially be the most interesting set of VGC you've seen in a while. Okay. I'm hyping it up, but I think it's worth hyping, is what I'm trying to say. Both these players are in the tournament and they're both 2-0. The flinch chance can fraud you out so often. We are in the flinch chance meta, so you got to do it. All right, we're joining in. This is a hype one. Like I don't know if the match will end up being hype, but like just wait until you see the build. Look at these builds. You can't see it. That is a Chimecho. We got Chimecho Heliolisk versus like Garchomp stuff with is this Mega Garchomp? Hold on. Is this Mega Garchomp? No, it's Citrus Garchomp, but it's Mega Glamora. So, like, that, how crazy does that get? Yeah, Chimecho Gaming plus Heliolisk plus Mega Glamora. Like, that's a pretty fun set. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to top this one for, like, coolest set. Like, coolest set of Pokemon. Alright, let's look at these teams. I'm gonna talk about them real quick. Alright, so this is a Choice Scarf Vanilluxe with Sheer Cold, Icy Wind, Blizzard, and Freeze Dry. They have a Whimsicott with like the standard stuff, but Fairy Feather. Mega Glamora with Spiky Shield, Earth Power, Power Jump, Sludge Bomb. Pasho Berry Rotom, so it's going to resist a water move 1 time. Sash Basculegion and a Citrus Berry Garchomp. Also, that Rotom Heat does have Wisp and Light Screen. And then on the other side of the field, they have Chimecho with Trick Room, Protect, Psychic, and Heal Pulse, Choppleberry, King Gambit. They have Archaludon with Electroshot, Dragon Pulse, Aura Sphere, Protect. And then this is Pelipper with the standard stuff, and this is a Choice Scarf Solar Power Heliolisk. So that's kind of like their anti, like, hey, you bring the sun, I'm gonna bring the damage kind of mode. Alright, we'll have to see how these players choose to play this game. I'm just excited to see that we have a Chimecho on the field. And again, these players are both 2-0 currently, so Chimecho Gaming is currently real. Notably, this Chimecho does have Levitate, so when it Megas, it's like, while this Rotom is going to pretty heavily threaten it, this Garchomp's not going to be able to touch it very well. Alright, let's see how this turn plays out. We see King Gambit goes for Protect. We see a Rock Slide come out. I guess the idea here is like, hey, if I just flinch you, then you won't be able to get what you want. We see Protect. We see a Miss. We see a Trick Room. Honestly, I don't think Ophelia could have hoped for a better turn. They basically just get to completely ignore the opponent's Pokemon and get their preferred board state. Chimecho is in position. Also, notably, this Chimecho, while it is the Mega on Ophelia's team, it's more of a support Pokemon. It's got Heal Pulse, it does have Psychic, so it can do damage, but like Psychic is its only attack. Notably, James doesn't have a Pokemon that even resists Psychic, so it's gonna do damage, but if it was facing down a King Gambit, it wouldn't be able to do anything. Alright, we'll have to see how King Gambit and Chimecho choose to play this one. They go for a big old Kowtow Cleave. It does a decent amount of damage to Rotom. Does the Psychic pick it up? It does not. This Rotom has been trained bulky, and it does survive. We see an Overheat come out. Is it going to be enough? It brings King Gambit down low, but it will not finish it off. This Garchomp, what does it choose to do next? It goes for Earthquake. Well, half the Pokemon here, while they would be weak to Earthquake, are actually levitating, so only King Gambit's going to fall in the crevice. Alright. Down goes King Gambit. We'll have to see what Pokemon comes out next. Rotom is hanging on by a thread here. Garchomp can't really do anything to this Chimecho. We'll have to see what happens next. Okay, so Ophelia has, on their Archaludon, they have Electroshock, Dragon Pulse, Aura Sphere, and Protect. I wouldn't be surprised to see Archaludon go for a Protect this turn, and just have Chimecho go for a Psychic into the Garchomp. Instead, it looks like they're just saying, you know what? We're going to bring in Pelipper. Does this Pelipper have Wide Guard? It does not. It does have Weather Ball, though. They say, you know what? I'm just going to use Electroshot. I want my +1, and I'm going to just remove your Rotom. Say, you know what? Chimecho will deal with whatever comes a bit later. Electroshock does come out. It does remove Rotom, and now it is going to be a 3 versus 3. All right, we see Earthquake connect into this Archaludon. It is super effective. It is going to do a decent amount of damage. Takes it down to about half. Defense is up. Notably, because the defense is up and the leftovers have healed it, it's looking like Archaludon will be able to take another Earthquake. All right, who comes out next? We see Whimsicott as the next Pokemon to enter the field. Notably, this Whimsicott probably is going to lock this Archaludon down with Encore. It is a Fairy Feather Whimsicott, so it can potentially go down to a Pelipper Hurricane this turn, but Pelipper has to bring some really strong and mighty winds in order to remove this Whimsicott. Hey, problem in my room, I forgot to check in even though we are playing. That's not a problem, just finish your set. I'm just going to remove the request and reset the match, okay? Alright, Chimecho does return. We see an Encore from Whimsicott. Archaludon's decided, hey, I'm just going to use my electric moves. That's fine. I don't really need to use anything else. Alright, we're going to see Archaludon get to a +2 now. It is going to fire off into Whimsicott. How much is this going to do? It's going to do over half. Notably, if James's final Pokemon is this Glamora, I don't know that Glamora can, like, really even do anything to this Chimecho. With Power Gem, Sludge Wave, and Earth Power, all of those attacks are resisted by Chimecho. Like, we're seeing Chimecho look really powerful here. I also appreciate you coming in to check in, Dragonite. Like, thank you for being proactive about that. Alright, so Chimecho is in a really, really favorable position here. Garchomp identifying that, saying, hey, I'm just going to protect. I don't want to deal with Chimecho. He's hard to deal with. We see Heal Pulse come out, saying, you know what, Archaludon, keep going. You're doing a great job, buddy. Doesn't matter that you can't connect into this Garchomp. We're just going to heal you up, and you know what? Go try again later. It'll be fine. Alright. Electroshock comes out. And down goes Whimsicott. Holy moly. This Archaludon and this Chimecho have completely become a problem. I honestly don't know how James is going to remove these two Pokemon outside of maybe freezing them. Because neither Glamora or Garchomp can do nearly anything to this Chimecho. This is like a very, very, very favorable. Like, I've never seen Chimecho look this devastating. Like, okay, so we see there is going to be a Mega Evolution. I guess the idea here is like, hey, you know what? Let's just start by trying to remove some of these Pokemon, and then maybe after they're removed, we can like do something here. Dragon Claw, hoping for a crit, comes out, does get the crit. Stamina goes up. Next Pokemon to move is Glamora, connects with the Earth Power, and it is enough to remove Archaludon. You know what? This battle ain't over. They say, I identify my win con, I'm going for it. But you know what they didn't account for? Chimecho, baby. Chimecho goes for a Psychic and it removes the Glamora. Holy cow, this set is crazy. Chimecho literally looking like the craziest Pokemon of all time in this one specific matchup. And next comes in Dripper, the Pelipper. Alright, honestly, I think that it's going to take too many attacks from Garchomp. You basically have to go for Rock Slides and hope that it's going to be enough. And I honestly don't know that you can ever get there. Like, I mean, obviously you can, but look how little that did to Chimecho. This is a Citrus Berry Garchomp, so it is going to be able to heal. This is the crazy Chimecho. Tailwind comes out, is the Tail Room Chimecho going crazy. Chimecho does flinch, that's the first thing that this Garchomp needs to get its way back into this game. Alright, is this the little Garchomp that could is the question, though. With Tailwind up, Pelipper is going to be faster, which means no more flinches on Pelipper. But if Chimecho outspeeds, then it's going to be a really difficult time. We see Normal-type Weather Ball saying, hey, I just need to do some damage. That did, I was going to say, that did more than I would have thought, and that's because it was a critical hit. Psychic comes out, how much damage is this? A lot of damage into the Citrus Berry Garchomp. Alright, does about half. Dragon Claw comes into this Chimecho, doesn't do enough, and honestly, the next set of attacks is just going to be enough. The writing is on the wall here for James. We're going to have to see how Ophelia and James play Game 2. I think that it wouldn't be surprising if we see Basculegion come in the next game, or Rotom Heat be played a little bit more safely, like played a little bit more cautiously. Normal type Weather Ball, aka just Ball, coming out into the Garchomp, followed up by a Psychic, will be enough to remove this Garchomp from the field. Pelipper do be balling. We are toasty. Says, sometimes you can't keep up. Sun is the problem, which is why I'm a fan of it. Yeah, the Chimecho went crazy there. Ball. Super Pelipper Ball. Alright. How does James adapt is the question. AKA just Ball. It is. There's no weather, so it's just Ball. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised to see Vanillix come out too. Like, it doesn't do great into Chimecho. But the thing is that, like, if you can get the weather to, like, if you can remove the rain, then your overheats are going to do big damage. I feel like the real ace on James's team here into Ophelia's team is this Basculegion, but you know what? King Gambit's there, and King Gambit with no like, James doesn't have any way to redirect that damage, so it's like, if you can use King Gambit at the right time, like, Chimecho is essentially immortal. Like, the Rain Core, like, I don't know, this Chimecho team is just doing so well that it's like, maybe this is just a really real team. Into this team, it looks devastating. I have to imagine it might be probably more difficult into a Charizard team, but I don't know. Maybe the Heliolisk can just blow up Charizard because they're all running themselves really bulky now, so maybe without investing in their speed, Choice Scarf Heliolisk is just too fast. Chimecho, a sleeper agent hiding behind the chair. Yeah, they basically are. I don't know if Chimecho has a gender. Alright, do we lead Chimecho? Honestly, crazy good lead. Chimecho is in a very safe position here, like, really not threatened by either Pokemon. The biggest threat Chimecho faces this turn is the fact that it can get encored into whatever move it chooses to do. So we'll have to see what happens here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Trick Room plus, do we have Flash Cannon on this, Archaludon? We do not. So, Archaludon is kind of in a weird position here, but, like, offensively, Chimecho is looking very strong this turn. But the thing is like, because Basculegion is the broken Pokemon that Basculegion is, like, taking a KO could actually be pretty bad for James here. Alright, we do see that Ophelia identifies, like, hey, I just want to have board control. I don't really care whether Archaludon's in on this turn. I just want to have, like, my weather. So they decide, I almost thought that Chimecho wasn't going to Mega. They decide, hey, let's just get Archaludon out of here, and we're just going to use Chimecho as the solo attacker this turn. Let's see what Whimsicott chooses to do. Moonblast, I have to imagine that is into the Archaludon spot. It is. That's going to be a lot of damage into that Pelipper. Followed up by an Earth Power, but because Pelipper is a flying type, it is going to be completely immune to that. Trick Room does go up, and now the question is, what is the speed order? We did see last time that Psychic from Chimecho was able to completely remove a Glamora, but the thing is because this Whimsicott has Encore, this Chimecho's kind of in a compromised position, where it's like, hey, you could Psychic and remove my Glamora, but if you do that, I might just, like, Encore you, and you might not be able to do anything, and you might actually remove Trick Room for me. So, Glamora kind of happy with how the board state has set itself up, but the thing is, like, while Whimsicott does offer really good board control this turn, depending on how Ophelia plays it, next turn is probably going to be theirs again. Okay, so Chimecho does leave. We'll have to see if Whimsicott goes for Encore, if it just goes for damage. And here comes King Gambit. And there goes Glamora. Alright, and here comes the ice cream. Alright, so we now know 3 of the Pokemon. We do see a Weather Ball come out into the Ice Cream Cone. It is going to be an Ice-type move, so Vanillux is only going to take a little bit of damage for its troubles. But notably, Whimsicott is kind of threatened by that new Weather Ball. That's going to be doing super effective damage, and does Ophelia's Kingambit have a Steel-type move? So Kingambit on Ophelia's side of the field does have Iron Head, which is pretty heavily threatening this Vanillux. So if they go for Iron Head, that's going to be good damage. The thing is like, whether it's Basculegion or Rotom Heat in the back, both of those Pokemon can really safely take an Iron Head. So James is kind of doing a really good job of pivoting around and saying, you know what, I know how to stall out this Trick Room. I can play it slow. I know how to get through this. We do see an Iron Head, but because of the Snow boost, like, Ice types do get a defense boost, and it is able to survive. We see a Moonblast fired out into Chimecho. It's going to do very little damage. It's actually not an insignificant amount of damage here, because it is a critical hit. And we see a Blizzard fired off. That is also, like, it's not nothing damage, but it's not so much that it's going to make a major impact here. So now the question is like, what does Kingambit and Chimecho choose to do here? Because, like, Iron Head plus any attack from Chimecho will probably be enough to remove Whimsicott, but if Whimsicott, like, Encores you into a Steel-type move, and that Rotom or that Basculegion comes out, you're going to be in a pretty tough spot. We do see Iron Head go into the Whimsicott, and I have to imagine that this is a Psychic into our Ice Cream Cone frame. It is. Okay. With Trick Room up, Whimsicott can use Encore, but the thing is that if Kingambit goes for Sucker Punch, Encore is going to go slower than the priority that Kingambit already has. Because Kingambit is slower under the Trick Room. So there is one remaining turn of Trick Room. Let's see what kind of Basculegion that James is cooking with. They do end up bringing Basculegion, which I do think is a really important Pokemon in this matchup, and this is a Sash Basculegion. So it is kind of safe here to just click Protect. So we'll have to see what Whimsicott chooses to do in this situation. Oh, actually, Kingambit's a Dark type, so it can't be Encored anyway. It really doesn't have to worry about what this Whimsicott's offering in terms of pressure. But this Basculegion is able to offer a lot of pressure with a Last Respects into Chimecho, and also a Wave Crash into Kingambit. So we'll have to see what Whimsicott chooses, or what these Pokemon choose to do here. We do see a switch out from the Chimecho into the bridge. And we see a switch out from Whimsicott into Glamora. Alright, we'll have to see. Basculegion goes for Protect. And what does Kingambit do? Kingambit goes for Iron Head. It does connect into Glamora. Is it enough to pick up? It is not. Glamora survives with just a little bit of health. And because it has Mega, it does not actually set up the poison spikes. Nerf Encore, it needs to be less turns. It feels bad getting Encored, but that's... I mean, it would feel bad if Encore didn't do anything either. They're snowballing? That's funny. Alright, so... Alright, this Glamora is currently in position. There is... I believe that was the final turn of Trick Room. We can check. Yes, that was the final turn of Trick Room, and this is the final turn of Snow. The question is how do you go about removing the threats in front of you? James has done a great job navigating through Trick Room, but it's like, it might be too little too late here. Alright, we see Glamora does go down. We see a Last Respects come out into the Kingambit. It does a significant amount of damage, but not enough to pick it off. And we see a Dragon Pulse follow-up into the Basculegion. Does about half. Unfortunately, with all 4 Pokemon remaining, I have a hard time seeing how James is gonna be able to pilot themselves through this. Especially because this King Gambit's really heavily threatening this Basculegion with its Sucker Punch and Kowtow Cleave. Potentially, like, an Aqua Jet could be enough, but also this Archaludon is really healthy here. And if Archaludon just goes for an Electro Shot into Basculegion, that's going to be enough too. Choosing to switch out, we see Chimecho come right back in. And we see Encore fired out. It is going to fail because it was on the switch hit, I'm assuming. We see Aqua Jet in order to block a Sucker Punch. Gets the critical hit. Does King Gambit go for Sucker Punch? It does! Basculegion finding the window to come back into this game. Alright, now the question is, what do you choose to do this turn? Another Aqua Jet will be enough to pick up King Gambit, but with both Pelipper and Archaludon in the back, it's going to be really, really tough for this Basculegion and Whimsicott duo to break through. The other thing, too, though, is, like, this Chimecho's like, hey, notice me, pay attention to me, I'm going to be doing a lot of damage as well. Alright, we see the Bridge re-enter the battlefield, calling that the King Gambit's not going to go for a Sucker Punch. They do throw a Moonblast exactly where it needs to be landing. Congratulations, Lexi. Bridge's defense goes up. Last Respects comes out. Does it connect into Chimecho? There goes Chimecho. Can James thread this needle? Can James get back into this game? They're playing so well. Alright. The Bridge's leftovers go off. Like, honestly, James has made every call correct. They've had 2 Pokemon for the last 3 to 4 turns. Alright, here comes Pelipper. Pelipper's Drizzle activates. Pelipper is at low health too. Now the question here is, like, can you call the correct turns? I believe, do all the Pokemon have Protect? All of the Pokemon on the field have the ability to Protect out, I believe. Let's see. Yes, everyone has Protect, so every single person is making a call this turn. If you Protect and it gets called incorrectly, there's another Moonblast. It goes down. Can Last Respects pick up Archaludon from this range? Last Respects comes out. It's not enough, but it's going to be enough for the Whimsicott to finish it off. I have to assume it's an Electro Shot. Okay. I think this is all going to come down to one last final call between these Pokemon. Alright. Bye-bye, Bask. And now a full health Whims has everything on his shoulders. It's gotten us this far. Can it take us the rest of the way? Archaludon leftovers tick up a little bit more. It is in range of Moonblast. I believe King Gambit last time we checked in was also in range of Moonblast. This might be the craziest set of the night. We have to see how this ends up shaking out. King Gambit also in range of Moonblast. Both Pokemon can Protect. Bridge can get Encored into Protect. So if Whimsicott calls this turn correctly, I believe James will have threaded the needle correctly. Also, thank you for the follow, Thrills Kage. This is just so fun watching. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh. There is a lot of mind games at play here. Can a Cotton Spore destroy a bridge? Can a Cotton Spore destroy a bridge and a Medieval General? Moonblast does come out into King Gambit. Alright, Archaludon does fire off an attack. What attack does it? Has Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, and Electro Shot. I don't think that Archaludon has enough to take out this Whimsicott. We'll have to see. It has been fun. Okay, so Electro Shot comes out. It connects into Whims. It does over half. If Whimsicott can remove this bridge with just one Moonblast, this game will be over, and James will have found the line that they needed to find in order to win this game. All right, are you big Whims believers is the question. I mean, I was rooting for Chimecho for so long, but now I'm big Whims gaming right now. Big Whims, it lives on 3! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The Electro Shot's gonna come out, and based on how much damage it did last time, it is almost certainly going to be enough. And down goes Whims. With 3 HP remaining, the Archaludon does survive, and it does win the game. Oh my gosh, while it was a 2-0 set, you have to give it to James. You have to acknowledge how well the super rookie James played. That was crazy. I sadly have to drop here, but thank you again for hosting these, Parker, of course. Captain James, like, you gotta watch that setback. That is, like, crazy gaming right there. Oh my gosh. I just have to give him some credits in his... Alright. It was the leftovers. Hold on, let me... Alright. Thank you for the... yes, thank you for the follow, Captain James. Thank you for the entertaining set. I forgot how Sucker Punch interacts with priority. It's just... okay, that makes sense. It was the leftovers tick that was insanely close, GG. Yeah, if it didn't get that one last leftovers tick, it wouldn't have survived. That was only a game 2. Like, could you imagine if it had gone to game 3? It probably was a damage roll. It certainly was a leftovers tick. Holy cow, what a set. Alrighty. We are gonna pop in on... let's see. We're gonna hop in on Codename Unknown and Big Hunt 18, because they're in the middle of their set. Let's see. 60, 95. They are in the middle of game 3. Yeah, honestly, I don't think it gets much better than that. That was just such a fun one. They have a second code in here. Alrighty. Alright, we're jumping in. This is Hunter versus Unknown. Unknown is rocking a Delphox team with Empoleon and Megalopony. Very cool. And Big Hunt is running Gardevoir plus Talonflame. Like, it's like a... it looks like a Tail Room Gardevoir team with a low kick for Farigiraf. You did... Alright, this is crazy. Alright, how long do you think I should practice online before starting in person? You can go in person at any time, Lexi. Like, your local scene is going to very drastically differ in terms of skill level. Like, some people will be really new and some people will be, like, well-established at regionals. But generally, I've never gone to a local and felt like everyone wasn't super inclusive to everybody. Alright, so just looking at this board state, it looks like Hunter has got it, so it's exclusively Gardevoir versus a critical hit from the Komoa Aura Sphere, which is ×4 resisted. Okay, it's Komoa and Empoleon versus Gardevoir. This is a soundproof Komoa, so it's kind of like nah, I can't hear your big hyper voice attacks. Expanding Force comes out. It is enough to remove this Azure. We're gonna have to see, can Komoa finish off this this Gardevoir. It goes for a Clinker Soul, boosting itself up. It does take damage. Let's see. Notably, Komoa usually doesn't have great attacking types or moves that do great damage into Gardevoir. Clinker Soul again saying, hey, you know what? I'm boosting. If I get what I want, I'm gonna be A-okay. Alright, goes down to Citrus Berry range. This is boosting its special defense. The question is, can it survive this big Expanding Force? It does! It is now outspeeding. It is now +2. Can this Komoa, with the ×4 resisted Aura Sphere, take this Gardevoir out? I kind of wish we were following this set too, because like, man oh man, what a close one. Last one crit. Unfortunately, it's not enough. It's mostly ineffective. Expanding Force will be enough to take it out, and I have to imagine that was a banger of a set. Very close game by both Unknown and Hunter. Yeah, that was a very interesting board state. Bird up. All right, let's see. I believe that is the end of set 3. I don't see any judge issues. No? Okay, we're good to go. We are going to hop over. Oops. We are going to hop over to our game number 4, the penultimate game. We have one more after this. I'm gonna punch it into the Discord. Let's see. At tournament round 4. Round 4 is up. You gotta do what you gotta do. Great attempt by Kamo. That match must have been fire too. Yeah, I know. I'm like, crazy we missed it. Alright, you can go whenever. Of course, if you want to build up tolerance for back-to-back sets, then online could help. But if you have locals that interact with them, would help a ton for improvement. Totally agree. Locals are just generally pretty fun. Oh, I said the next round was up, and now the next round is up. Alright, we are going to check in on... Let's see. The question is, I feel like we gotta diversify our profile. Currently, Chimeco is number 3 seed, though, in this tournament. They've been playing so well. Hold on, let me look at... Do we have anything that's crazy happening? Chimeco has a 100% win rate. Heliolisk doing well. Ooh, I see something a little spicy. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I know where we're going next. We're going back to Ice Cream Town, but... their opponent has got an interesting team, something you don't see too often. So we're going to check this out. Hold on. They're doing pretty well. They're at 2-1. We are going to watch the finals, like anyone that's potentially in the finals for our last set. So let's see. Let's see. All right, pairings. Where are you? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, hopefully they check in. I have one lined up. If they don't check in, we'll jump to another one. I'm going to get that ready. I'm really hopeful that they do check in because they have a cool team. This is a Pokemon I've really wanted to build around myself, so it's cool to see someone else has already done it. I might have to grab it from them and try it at some time. Also, some of these names are great, like Papa Rot. I imagine that's like Papa Samurott, right? I don't know. All right. We have some really cool teams. I see a Meowscarada team here too. That's doing pretty well. Let's see. Oh, someone's using Beedrill. That's cool. They're currently 1-2. Beedrill, Altaria. You don't see Beedrill or Altaria very often, so to see both is very cool. Alrighty. Let's see. Oh, okay. We are okay. So James may not have won last set, but they are up against another very interesting team, and we're gonna give them the run back on the stream. It's actually their opponent that I wanted to showcase because they have another really interesting team. So let's see. Look at Mr. Moneybags over here with the 200 VP. You know, I used to be playing in tournaments every single Monday, so that helps. I think when you do, also, I've been grinding on the ladder. I'm not gonna sit here and say I haven't been. So I personally don't have any close locals, so I'm limited to online or the bigger events if I ever end up wanting to do that. You should, Lego. It's a lot of fun. Well, I mean, obviously, it's a difficult choice to make financially if you like to go out to an event, but it's almost always worth it. Okie dokie. You're okay, dog. You're okay. Oh, No, there's nothing over there, bud. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay, cool. They got the code up. So 646. Okay, this is another cool one. It is featuring James, who was the Mega Glamora player from last game, which is already a cool team, but they're up against another very cool team. So this is kind of the James show today. I don't know. It wasn't like planned to be, but he's just got a cool team and he's been fighting really cool teams that are doing really well. So there are locals, but I don't have the money or time to drive to Indiana or Wisconsin for regionals. That's fair. That is fair. It could be a good time though, especially if a good group if you have a good group to go with. Oh. Oh my goodness. I am excited to see how this game interaction is going to work. Okay, so just a heads up, I'm gonna repeat. I'm gonna actually I can just show it on stream, right? Let's do that while they're getting ready. We're gonna switch over. Okay, so as you can see on the stream, the team that James is using is this Fairy Feather Whimsicott, Mega Glamora, Sheer Cold Vanillux with like Icy Wind Blizzard, like it's a scarf one. They got Focus Sash Baskia Legion, Garchomp with Citrus Berry, so it's pretty bulky, and then Rotom Heat. And then when we check out Athena Strive, they are rocking the Chestnut, the Iron Defense Bulletproof Chestnut on the Mega Floette team with like an offensive Floette, Citrus Berry Pelipper with Roselli Berry Garchomp. So it's a pretty cool set. I'm excited to see how these teams interact with each other. Notably, a lot of Glamora's moves... Oh, I don't know why I did that. That's fine, whatever. A lot of Glamora's moves have a hard time hitting Chestnut. Like, Sludge Bomb doesn't affect Chestnut because of Bulletproof. Yeah, Sheer Gold. Yeah. Oh, let's get in here. Let's check it out. I have to imagine that this Chestnut is going to come to this game. So, like, it seems like it's really strong into James's team outside of the Whimsicott and the Ice Cream Cone. So as long as, I mean, I guess Floette's pretty strong into the team too, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them. But if we can leverage this Chestnut, like I could see it kind of running away with the game. Notably, the only Pokemon that even is, so there's only 2 Pokemon that resist Body Press. Those being Baskia Legion, which it hits for super effective with grass type moves, and Whimsicott. Notably, this Whimsicott is kind of annoying for Chestnut because Chestnut can get encored into Iron Defense, which will then kind of shut its whole game plan down. But I do see this as a really, really good opportunity for Chestnut to kind of pop off if it can get into the right position. The question, though, is how is Athena going to navigate getting a Chestnut into position, or are they just going to go with Big Blasty Floette mode? It's looking like they're going for Big Blasty Floette mode. Alright. So they've decided that they're like, you know what, I've chosen danger. And you know what, the nice thing too with Chestnut though is like it can function as a switch in on these Sludge Bombs. Like you can just be like, oh, sorry, here comes Sludge Bomb. I'm not gonna actually worry about you attacking into my Floette this turn. I'm gonna get Tailwind up with my Pelipper and I'll deal with you later. Also notably, like the real threat I think this turn on Cambria's side of the field is, well, it's hard to tell who's who at this point. The real threat coming from James' side of the field is that Pelipper, because it offers speed control, and... Oh, actually, no, that's Cambria's side. Okay, there's no Pelipper. There's a Whimsicott, okay. The Whimsicott is offering speed control with the Tailwind, which is a big problem. Baskia Legion can hit this, I was gonna say, this Glamora... I don't know why I thought there was Pelipper. This Glamora with a big old Wave Crash. You can choose to not Mega Floette and use Flower Veil to protect Chestnut from status. That is really cool too. That is good tech. Alright, we see Wave Crash attempt to go into this this Glamora. It does not work. We see a big old Moonblast fired off into Whimsicott, and there goes Whimsy. Goodbye, Whims. That is a 1-0 lead for James. Or sorry, for Cambria. James is now 1 behind, but they do have Tailwind, so the board position is favoring them. We do see that the Ice Cream Cone has entered the field. Vanillux is here, and things have gotten chilly with it. unfortunately, this Basculegion still is really, really threatening here. Like, you do have Freeze Dry, but I kind of have the feeling that Basculegion will be able to survive at least one Freeze Dry, which means that you might have to double it up in order to take it out. This is a choice Scarf Basculegion, so it's like, yeah, you can double it up, but the thing is, like, do you really want to leave Floette alone for that long? Basculegion has locked into Wave Crash, so maybe Freeze Dry plus the recoil from Wave Crash will be enough to finish it off, but we'll have to see. I can't imagine that we can leave this Floette alone for very long. But the other thing, too, though, is this Floette is kind of threatened, so maybe it'll just protect in the face of the adaptability boosted Sludge Bomb. Alright, let's see what the players choose to do here. Glamora and his big old beak are staring down another Mega. Alright, so Freeze Dry does come out. Like I said, Basculegion is able to survive. It does look like it's probably in range of going down to the next move that it chooses to use. Alright, never mind, don't worry about it. Basculegion is gone. And now the Pokemon count has returned to the original 2v2. We do see a Light of Ruin coming out saying, hey, I don't like ice cream, get it out of here. I like chocolate, not vanilla. And now we see the Pokemon are dropping just like flies. We see 2 Pokemon down to this turn alone. James is down to their final 2 Pokemon on turn 3. And Cambria has both. They have 1 Pokemon in the back and they have 2 Pokemon in the back. One's going to be coming out right now. Final Pokemon on James' side is Basculegion. The final Pokemon on Cambria's side is Garchomp. Notably, this Garchomp is Roselli Berry. It does have Poison Jab and it does have Earthquake. So we're kind of looking at a weird situation where it's like, if we can't remove this Garchomp, it's looking it's looking like this James's team is in like a bit of trouble here. I didn't order this ice cream was a good quote. Okay, we'll have to see how these Pokemon navigate this turn. Basculegion and Glamora both kind of really threatened by this Garchomp, so it's like, hey, do we double into Garchomp, or do we just leave it be and say, hey, he might click Double Protect this turn, or she might click Double Protect this turn. Alright, let's see. The calm before the storm. Okay, Floette goes for Protect. Did they double into Garchomp is the question. Garchomp also going for Protect. A great turn to say, you know what? We can get through this Tailwind if we just play a little more patiently. There's no need to take out every single Pokemon on every single turn. We don't want the game to end by turn 4. Alright, and with that, there is a singular turn of Tailwind remaining. Both Pokemon have Protected, which means that James is kind of safe to potentially double attack into a spot. If the last Pokemon is Sinestcha, it could be a problem, though, because Sinestcha would be able to resist a Water type plus Poison type would do good damage into it. We'll have to see how the trainers choose to attack here. And also, did we see, is James is Sash, not Scarf, so notably, taking damage from the Garchomp is going to be kind of difficult for this Basculegion because it will get hit by the Rough Skin. We see Sludge Bomb does remove this Floette. This is a full health Garchomp. I have to imagine that Last Respects will not pick it up from here. It does not, which means I think we're going to see an Earthquake. And there goes Glamora. Alright, and the question is, who is Cambria's final Pokemon here? I wouldn't be surprised to see Sinestcha. It's a very strong Pokemon. Alright, cool. Pelipper does return. That is going to boost up Basculegion. Basculegion does have a little under health, or a little over half health. This is a Choice Scarf Basculegion. If Last Respects, is this a, let's see. The Earthquake does come out. It does outspeed. It is going to bring this, this Basculegion really, really low here. Last Respects comes out. It is enough to pick up Pelipper. Did this Basculegion find the line in order to win the game? It's looking like it did. If this Basculegion has Aqua Jet, it is Sash and it does have Aqua Jet. It looks like James does find the win condition in order to win this game. And it looks like both players are thinking about how they're going to take it to the, or how they're going to play their next set, or next game of the set. That was a crazy game. It was like KO, 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 KO every single turn. And then both Pokemon go down. Actually, Rough Skin does take out the Basculegion, so you're going to see who ends up winning the game when Rough Skin comes into contention. And the winner is going to be James. A very, very close endgame. It does not get closer than that when all Pokemon faint. Well played to both players. That's just game one, baby. We got more coming. I'm really, like... Oh, no, I don't want to join the queue. I want to spectate. I'm really hopeful that we see Chestnut make an appearance. Cambria did lose that game, but they did not lose it by much. Honestly, like, it was a very, very close game. Notably, that Encore Whims makes it really, really difficult for Cambria to bring the Chestnut, and with the Ice Cream Cone, it's pretty safe to assume that they're going to bring those two Pokemon, because they just match up really well overall into Cambria's team. With that said, though, like, there is a world where, like, potentially Pelipper picks up Whimsicott with a Hurricane early, or you choose not to Mega your Floette and you say, hey, I don't need this damage right away, but I don't know. Or maybe it's like, hey, you can just bait them into using a Poison-type move with, and you switch in Garchomp, and then Garchomp does the damage it needs to do. I don't know. We'll have to see, does Chestnut end up being a factor in this game or not? Alright, Garchomp and Pelipper enter the battlefield. That is a different lead. Followed by Whimsicott and Chestnut. Chestnut is looks good here once Whims is removed. True. Whims is kind of the big problem. Alright, so we do see a switch up. Notably, this board is looking very Earthquake friendly. Like, I don't think the Moonblast alone is going to be enough to remove this Roselli Berry Garchomp, so this Whimsicott, Whimsicott's not entirely threatened, but the Glamora is in a really, really rough spot here. Notably, I believe this is what kind of Pelipper? This is a Citrus Berry Pelipper, so I have to imagine that Pelipper is probably going to get hurt pretty badly by a Power Gem if Cambria chooses to use it this turn. Instead, we're going to see a Spiky Shield. Okay. I believe in Chestnut being able to beat the Ice Cream. I believe in him too. Alright, Pelipper stands pat in the face of this Whimsicott. We see a singular Moonblast go down. What do we see this Pelipper choose to do here? We see Earthquake come out. Do we see Hurricane? Because Hurricane would be the perfect attack in order to remove the biggest threat, which is this Whimsicott. Alright, we see Earthquake. We see Tailwind. Honestly, I do like that play because it says, hey, you know what? The only Pokemon you have that resists Earthquake is your Rotom, and I don't think you're bringing Rotom into my Rain team. So we'll have to see what Cambria chooses to do here. I have to imagine that it's probably going to be a Power Gem into Pelipper or an Encore into Pelipper. We do see Violet switch out. We do see the Ice Cream Cone enter the battlefield. Tailwind is up for Cambria, which means that they are currently in control. We see a Protect come out. We see Earthquake come out. Let's just get damage on everything is what Cambria says. Alright, big ol' Earthquake into this Ice Cream. Ugh. Hurricane comes out into the Whims. It does not connect, but this does make me believe that we are seeing what could potentially be a Chestnut endgame here. I think that we're probably going to see either a Freeze Dry or a Blizzard come out from this Ice Cream Cone, and a Tailwind followed up by the Whimsicott. So we'll have to see what Cambria chooses to do here. They've stood pat in the face of James for so long. I would not be surprised if they choose to make another aggressive play, or if they say, hey, I've been pushing the gas for too long. It's time to take the back seat here. We see a switch out. We do see Floette was in the back after all. It was not Chestnut. They were kind of angling to make the opponent think maybe it was, but apparently not this time. Floette is known for having a great special defense stat, so it'll probably take this Blizzard relatively well, provided it doesn't freeze. Actually, it's just going to be a freeze dry. It makes sense when both Pokemon quad weak to it. But at the same time, I don't think a Blizzard would have been a bad play there, because Blizzard would have made it so that you could do damage into both. Oh, cute ice cream animations. It switches the face that is smiling. Oh, that is really cute. Okay. I believe this is the final turn of Tailwind for Cambria's side, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Whimsicott protect this turn to ensure that it gets through this turn. Have the same problem as an EU player, get one regional in the UK, otherwise you're flying places. That is rough. Pelipper returns. I have to imagine that this is going to be into the... This freeze dry is going to be firing off into the Pelipper spot. Notably, snow doesn't impact how much damage ice type moves do, but it does impact the accuracy. Alright, we do see Moonblast fired off. It's going to do a lot of damage because the Floette has raised the fairy type damage of all the Pokemon on the field. Moonblast does come out. And there goes the Ice Cream Cone. Saving Garchomp was really important there because Garchomp is kind of the big piece to this endgame and how you beat Glimmora. So, who is the next Pokemon to make their appearance? It is going to be Glimmora. Glimmora is very heavily threatening this Pelipper. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a double up into the Pelipper spot, but there are 2 turns of Tailwind remaining on James's side. Pelipper, honestly, can just go down to probably the Adaptability Power Gem. I can't imagine Pelipper will be able to take that. It's not a Pokemon known for having extremely high stats. And then Floette is so low that it is probably in range of going down to a Moonblast. So whoever Cambria's final Pokemon is here is going to make a big impact on the state of this battle. We're going to have to see what they choose to bring here. Alright, Floette does return. In comes Basculegion. Pelipper does return. In comes Garchomp. I think the idea here is like, hey, I can play passively, and then, like, you're probably going to do a Moonblast into my Basculegion. It can take 1. And then my Garchomp can take a Power Gem. We'll have to see if the targeting is switched. Moonblast comes into the Basculegion. It is going to be able to take 3, potentially, depending on how damage rolls go. Does lose special attack. Not known for being a special attacker. That's fine. Power Gem goes into Garchomp. Notably, that does a bit of Garchomp's health there. Also, all these Pokemon are kind of scary here. Like, the question is, like, how are you going to get through all of this? You've seen all 4 of the Pokemon on Cambria's side of the field. There is still a Pokemon remaining for James that we have not seen. James has been playing this really well. The question is, like, if I just switch my targets, right? If I just Moonblast into the Garchomp and Power Gem into the Basculegion, how do you deal with that? Because I think the answer is you don't. I guess you could bring in your Floette plus your Pelipper again, but I don't think those Pokemon have much health left. And I don't think that you're going to be getting enough value out of it because, yeah, the Tailwind's going to end soon, but Whimsicott's not known for having a difficult time setting up Tailwind. Unless you can remove the Whimsicott, that's a different story. Alright, so we see Spiky Shield come out from Glimmora. Aqua Jet comes out from Basculegion. It is not going to be able to connect with this Glimmora. It is going to take damage from it. We see Moonblast come out. Because Floette has entered the battlefield, it is going to be enough to remove this Basculegion this time. The Fairy Aura is boosting it up. Unfortunately, I don't think that the board state has changed too much. I guess the question is, like, Whimsicott might have to click Tailwind depending on how it's trained. Like, Garchomp might be pretty free to just get an Earthquake off here, which could potentially remove this Whimsicott. But at the same time, I feel like Garchomp's probably in range of one of these Glimmora attacks. Like, and if that's the case, I don't think that this Glimmora is ever really too threatened by this Floette. All right, so both trainers are trying to navigate the situation. Things are really, really, really looking in James's favor at the moment. James has played really, really well using this Whimsicott to really exert a lot of pressure on Cambria. I forgot how strong Mega Glamora was after seeing so many with Sash. Yeah, it is a threat. All right, so Garchomp does click Protect here, but the thing is like, that is good, but unless Whimsicott goes down this turn, it does. They do go for Garchomp. Does Whimsicott go down this turn? I think Cambria might have found their out. We'll have to see. And the other question too is, who is the final Pokemon? Because if that final Pokemon is Basculegion, I don't think it matters how you played. Like, yes, you made the great call here, but like, here comes Fish. I think that it's just not enough damage. Like, there's not enough longevity on Cambria's side of the field. James has played incredibly patient, and that has paid off. That is 100% true. Have to drop because my ear's hurting too much. Thanks for hosting. Thanks for playing. I hope your ear feels better. Okay. So, there are 3 more turns of Tailwind remaining. This is a... Let's look at James' side of the field. This is a Sash Basculegion. There is a world where there are double and triple protects, right? It is not impossible that James can navigate the situation. Tailwind, or sorry, Cambria can navigate it. Sludge Bomb does come out. It does connect to the Floette. It looks like they decided, hey, we don't need to go for double protects. We're just gonna go for damage. I do think that is the line that does lose you this game, though, because I think that in order for Cambria to finish this game off, what they needed to do was they needed to probably leverage at least a double protect, potentially a triple protect, bring Pelipper in, protect with him, and then like go for Earthquake shenanigans. Like it's almost impossible. The margins are so small, but I think that you have to play to those outs or else you're never gonna win, right? They did. I will say both players played it really well, and I understand why they chose not to bring Chestnut into this matchup. That Ice Cream Cone and Whimsicott were just too much pressure for it. But that is something that could be considered for future building, is like, hey, if Encore Whimsicott is a big problem, maybe I need something like a Farigiraf in order to block it, or a Follow Me Pokemon to make it so that I can set up better. We are going to hop over. We're going to check in on some of our people that are on the higher end of the bracket that are still ongoing. We're going to check in on Piggy and see how he is doing against Rockwell. That was rough, so fun to watch. Yeah, they played it really well. It was a hard one to do, though. All right. All right, so they are currently in game 2. Piggy won game 1. Rockwell, I'm seeing a bit of a sort of a mirror match here. All right. Tebow Baggins and Peak. Okay, hope you feel better soon. Yeah, so we're sending you well wishes. All right. Okay, so Dragonite and Archaludon are staring down Sinestro and Archaludon. Let's see, is there Trick Room up or anything? Doesn't look like it. Also, look at these Pokemon. +2, +2, +1, +3. Like they're Pighog has gotten a little greedy. It looks like they've set up a lot of their Pokemon. Espathra has really gotten its job done. Okay. The question is, how does Rockwell navigate through here? Looks like the first answer is switching out that Pokemon and bringing in the Farigiraf. Alright, we see a Dragon Pulse come out from the +2 Dragonite. That's a low health Neki Minaj. It is going to go down. Archaludon, what does he fire off with? He goes with a giant Dragon Pulse. It does not remove Archaludon, which means that this game is not over yet. We see a Dragon Pulse fired back. Uncle Iroh, the Bridge of Wisdom has gone down. Alright. So now it is a 2v2 situation, but the thing is like, you're gonna have to get some crits in order to win this game. We did see that Sinestro was on Rockwell's side of the team, so there is gonna be some healing. How much health does this Espathra have remaining is the other question. Okay, that's some good healing. Alright. Espathra looking decently healthy. Okay. So the question here is, like, how can you remove these Pokemon and also maintain a healthy advantage? So, like, I think, does this Teapot have Protect? It does have Protect. Okay, so how boosted up is the other Archaludon? It's also very boosted up. Okay. I think... Okay, so the weird situation here is, like, I think that you can attack with both Pokemon into both Pokemon. Like, I think that Pighog kind of has a guaranteed line, I believe, if they go for Lumina Crash into T-Bow Baggins, plus the Dragon Pulse into Archaludon. So the idea here is, like, Espathra always picks up the Teapot, right? And then Dragonite will always pick up the Archaludon. But the thing is, because Lumina Crash lowers special defense, I feel like, even though it's a resisted hit, I think 2 of those will be enough to remove Archaludon. I knew Espathra would be the last Airbender Aang in the theme names. And you know what the best one is? I don't know that this is the name, but, like, Scovillain has to be Zuko, right? It's two-faced. Like, it's both good and evil. I don't know. Does that make Sneasler Sokka or Toph? Or, like, I don't know. Or Suki. Suki'd be good. Or Azula. Or Azula would be really good for Scovillain as well. Let's see. Okay, so Dragonite's just gonna go for a Protect here. Azula or Kyoshi, both are good. A double Protect from Sinestha. Ooh. I think we might be going to a Game 3 depending on how they targeted. What do we see here? We do see a Dragon Pulse. OMG Zuko. Yes, Zuko is perfect for Scovillain. Yeah, there's a lot of really good names for these ones. Alright, we see another speed boost. The thing is because Dragonite protected, I have to... Well, maybe Espathra is faster than Dragonite. If Espathra is faster than Dragonite, I think that Pighog has won this game. But if Espathra is not faster than Dragonite, I don't know. It's not over. I don't anticipate we see a third Protect from this Teapot, but crazier things have happened. Okay, so Rage Powder comes out. Who is faster, Espathra or Dragonite? Lumina Crash comes out. Espathra is faster. Dragonite is the next one to move. Dragon Pulse comes out. And that is going to be another game wrapped up for Piggy. Wee. All the way home. Okay. We're going to check in on... It looks like one of the last two to finish. We're going to check in on Dr. Brienne versus Gyoki PR. Alrighty. Let's see. Enter room ID 3659038. Alright. Let's check out what they have going on here. Alright, so Gyoki is using a Charizard Y plus Mega, or just regular Aerodactyl Focus Sash. And then they are using a Sash Glamora plus Charizard T. Alright, it looks like Dimitri has only this King Gambit remaining, and... Or no, never mind. There was a Whimsicott. It was just hidden off screen. Am I crazy? Oh, no, that's the ghost of Whimsicott. Alright. I honestly think that this game is wrapped because I think this King Gambit always just clicks Sucker Punch, and it is just locked up. And I'm not sure who is who because... Oh, actually, you know what? Actually, it looks like we might be going to a Game 3. Why is the ghost of Whimsicott keep popping up? He's not here. Whims is scaring me? Yeah, I need to, like, record that, because Whims keeps popping up. Like, does this King Gambit, is it Encore locked out of Sucker Punch? Does it not have Sucker Punch? Because it can just click Sucker Punch. Charizard's there! What is happening? I need to clip this. Hold on. Alright, we clipped it. We clipped it. The ghost of Pokemon were reappearing here. Alright. The Souls of the Fallen, yeah. Alright, we are gonna watch... That was freaky. Yeah, that was bizarre. Okay, this is the battles. Oh, that was game 3. Okay, never mind. They just hadn't recorded it. Alright, cool. I believe that... Oh, no, look, there might be one more. Let's see. Oh, no, that was it. Okay, cool. Alright, coolio, we're gonna go to the final round of our tournament. It is because they didn't pay last respects. True. Just wait until that happens on the stream match for NAIC, and they're like, here's the last respects, and then you see, like, the ghost of a Pokemon show up, and you're like, a father-son Kamehameha moment. Alright, round 5 is up. Alrighty, we are going to check out... Ooh, the question is, do we watch... I'm gonna let you choose, chat. Do we want to watch Mega Chandelure and Vanillux in Primarina versus versus Mega Charizard and like a pretty standard Glamora team, or do we want to watch Espathra and Dragonite versus Calm Mind setup Floette? So you like whatever gets the most comments about Floette or like Mega Chandelure or Espathra Dragonite, or those are like the two sets. The other two are pretty standard. It's like it is the one that we just checked in on, the Charizard Glamora team, or sorry, and the other one is Floette setup. If I don't hear, then I guess I will just randomize between the two. Actually, is it just guaranteed that one of these two wins? Let me look at his resistance. 3, 3, 3, 1, 1, 1. 4, 3, 3, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1. Four, three, three, one, one. Okay, maybe. Actually, you know what? We're gonna watch Shandy again. We're watching Shandy again, because it looks like Shandy might win the whole tournament. Like, the winner of this set is likely to be the winner of the whole tournament, depending on how Resistance goes. Yeah, so this is a potentially tournament-winning Chandelure team, so I figured it'd be interesting to watch it out. Okie dokie. Alright, so things to note about Dimitri's team is it's Sash Glamora, Fairy Feather Whims, Solar Beam Charizard with Weather Ball, Soft Sand Garchomp, Mystic Water Basculegion, and a Choppleberry King Gambit. And then Dan, we've already watched his team once. He's got Mega Chandelure with Calm Mind, Choice Scarf Vanillux, White Herb Sneasler, Black Glasses King Gambit with Iron Head, Culverberry Farigiraf, and Mystic Water Primarina. Excuse me. Ooh. Alright, cool. So let's focus in on this game, right? Based on the leads, this Garchomp is pretty heavily threatened by this Vanillux, but notably, this Charizard's probably just going to set Sun and let a giant Heat Wave rock, or Weather Ball. But the thing is if they do that, then they're going to be giving a boost to the Chandelure. So there's like this weird mind game at play where it's like, do I keep my Garchomp safe? Do I switch my Garchomp out? Garchomp does switch out. Now the question is, ooh, the Garchomp switches out, but like if they threw a Heat Wave out, like this could be really unfortunate for this Kingambit player. Also, based on how fast this Chandelure is, if this... Oh, okay, they just go for the Freeze Dry into Garchomp, which is now a Kingambit. If they went for a Fire move, this Kingambit is super toast. Speaking of super toast, that ice cream just got melted by the power of the sun. Bye-bye ice cream. Bye-bye Vanillux. Okay. We see a Calm Mind come out. We do know that Dan is packing a Farigiraf on his team, so, like, there is the chance that Farigiraf comes out here, and if Farigiraf does come out here, yes, the giant Helping Hand boosted Heat Waves are about to go crazy. We did see that, unfortunately, this Chandelure is underspeeding the Charizard, so the Charizard's going to be able to get damage first. Garchomp's going to switch in on this attack. I don't think he's going to like it as much as he thinks he does. Alright, we're going to see a Chandelure with Helping Hand. I'm assuming it's Helping Hand. Let me check that this Farigiraf has Helping Hand. It has Helping Hand. Helping Hand boosted Heat Wave about to pop off, I imagine. We see Weather Ball come out. Can Farigiraf survive this? It is Bold Nature. It does survive. We see Helping Hand Heat Wave. Bye-bye. Not bye-bye, but mostly bye-bye. Yeah. Those were 2 resisted attacks. It did not look like they were resisted, but those were 2 resisted attacks. Alright. Unfortunately, though, when this Chandelure, or when this Farigiraf drops, so does this Chandelure's ability to hang out next to Garchomp, or next to, I can't remember his name, frickin' Kingambit. So the question is, how does Dan proceed from here? We know that it has Helping Hand. We know, so this Farigiraf actually can protect. It does have protect. Big Helping Hoof. Yeah, I don't know how Farigiraf helps without hands. It says it has Helping Hand. I don't know. We see a Protect from Farigiraf. What attacks do we see come out next? Garchomp uses Earthquake. It does outspeed both Chandelure and Charizard. Alright, Earthquake comes out. Chandelure goes down to 1. We did see Charizard was faster last turn. Weather Ball comes out. He says, hey, I know you're not immune anymore. There goes Chandelure. Now the question is, who is the final Pokemon on Dan's side of the field? Is there a Pokemon that, with the support of Farigiraf, can take on the entirety of Dimitri's team? Or is Dan going to lock in the forfeit right now? We see Sneasler. Sneasler is a Pokemon known for it. If there's a will, there's a way. So let's see if Sneasler has what it takes to bring it all home. This is a White Herb Sneasler facing down a... That's a Soft Sand Garchomp. So it is, yeah, it is not going to outspeed. I have to imagine that that this Charizard's probably clicking Heat Wave. It's potentially just clicking Weather Ball, saying, you know what, I don't want to deal with Farigiraf. I'm not going to. Here comes big Heat Wave. Sneasler is down to like such low health. We saw Shandy eat EQ much better earlier. That Soft Sand is really helping out. It did notably survive the Soft Sand Earthquake though, which is pretty crazy. It survived, but it survived on like 1 HP, so it does not want to take those Soft Sand Earthquakes. Game 1 is over. It is pretty quick. Now the question is, will Dan be able to adapt? Looks like losing his Ice Cream early on was quite detrimental to Dan's game plan. Also, if Charizard... No, actually, I was going to say... I'm trying to think if there was a way that Dan could have potentially kept his Chandelure not Mega'd earlier or longer. I do feel like if it was Sash Chandelure, it might be a bit scary into Dimitri's team, because being able to take, like, one attack and be immune to Fire-type moves. I spent 10 minutes trying to figure out what Piggy's spreads are based on what happened last round. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what his spreads are. But, he's... that endgame for Piggy was pretty crazy, too, just to have all those buffs. Yeah, I'm shocked it lived, LOL. It seems very defensive. Yeah, I am shocked too. But it also outsped a Charizard earlier, so it can't... I mean, it's also timid. I'm not saying it's not defensive, but it is good to note that it is not, like, so defensive that it's, like... I don't know. It's got some HP on it. Or it's got some speed on it. You can hop up. Hop up. Hop up. There you go. It's modest. I think that Chandelure is timid. Yeah, it says timid on it. Oh, sorry, I meant the arch. Oh, yeah, the arch. From last round. Fair. Alrighty. Okay, so we see Charizard staring down a Glamora. So it's Charizard Glamora versus Sneasler and Chandelure. This is a pretty compromised position for Dan here because that Glamora is really threatening the Chandelure this turn. Notably, Sneasler does outspeed Glamora. I don't believe Sneasler threatens an OHKO into Glamora though, because the poison type does make it resist, or like take neutral damage from fighting type moves. Alright, we see Fake Out into Charizard. Dan does make the call. They go for a Calm Mind. This is an interesting play. I do like this play from Dan. I feel like it is the play they need to make in order to like go further into this game. It is hard to make that play, especially staring down a super effective Pokemon. And it's a Sash Glamora, so I have to imagine it outspeeds you too. Alright, Protect here. A very scary play to make again, because if Whimsicott finds its way onto the battlefield, things are going to get extremely difficult for Dan here. We see a close combat come out. Poison Spikes have been dropped. White Herb has been activated. The question is, did Dimitri fire into the Sneasler with a Weather Ball? And I have to imagine that Sneasler can't survive that? No, bye-bye Sneasler. Not bulky enough to take that one. Alright, Sneasler goes down. Power Gem comes out. It's not going to get any mileage here. But the nice thing is, like, the Ice Cream Cone looking kind of good here, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Unfortunately, it is going to have to take Poison Chip for its troubles. But it is pretty heavily threatening these Pokemon, and it is controlling the board quite a bit here. I really think that there is a chance that the Ice Cream Cone may be able to knock out this Glamora with a Blizzard. Unfortunately, since Chandelure does not outspeed Charizard, it's a really, really difficult play to make here. I feel like if Dan has Icy Wind, he does not. I was going to say, if he had Icy Wind, he could control the board in a big way and click Icy Wind plus Heat Wave. Unfortunately, that is not an option available to Dan here. Alright, we do see King Gambit switch in here. The question is Chandelure going for Heat Wave onto two Pokemon that do potentially resist it? We see a Blizzard come out. It's going to do big damage into both these Pokemon. What does Charizard do back? It does Heat Wave, saying, hey, I bet you're going to Mega Chandelure. Heat Wave does remove this Vanillux, and notably puts Chandelure in range of potentially going down to an Earthquake. We see a Heat Wave fire back. Charizard does survive. The question is, who is Dimitri's final Pokemon here? And can Calm Mind Chandelure bring it all the way back? If it's Garchomp, I have a hard time imagining that Dan's going to be able to bring it all the way home. But maybe there's a case if Farigiraf is the final Pokemon for Dan. It would make it so that Whimsicott couldn't use priority moves. I could see Dan wanting to bring that Pokemon. I mean, also Primarina does look pretty good here too. We do see the final Pokemon is Farigiraf for Dan, and Dan did bring Garchomp. Farigiraf does get poisoned this turn. Charizard and Glamora are pretty low. Glamora, I believe, has like 40%. Okay. So the question here is, does Dan click Protect on Chandelure? Because Garchomp and Charizard are almost certainly doubling up into that Farigiraf spot. But the thing is, they're almost certainly also clicking Earthquake. And that's a Soft Sand Earthquake. It's going to hurt pretty hard. Especially with this Farigiraf being poisoned. I feel like Chandelure is going to get its Trick Room up, but it's going to be like an at what cost kind of situation. We see Earthquake come out, followed up by what attack from Charizard? It's going to have to be Heat Wave, right? Earthquake comes out. It does do a decent amount of chunk to Fergraph, not enough to pick up the KO. We see Heat Wave come out from Charizard. It does connect. It does a lot. Fergraph is going to go down to Poison the following turn, it looks like. Not this turn. Potentially next turn. Let's see how much it does. 41 down to what? 41 down to 24. It will get one more turn outside of this turn. So Fergraph is on borrowed time here. The question is, this Fergraph also does not have a spread move. It only has Psychic. So the question is, does it fire off a Psychic into Charizard, and can Shadow Ball from Chandelure be enough to pick up Garchomp from full health? I have a hard time believing it can, but it's one of those things where it's like you kind of have to hope that that Chandelure can. It's Dan's put so much faith in the Chandelure. It's brought him to game the 4th set undefeated so far. Let's see. We see a helping hand come out. I have to imagine this Garchomp protects. It's very heavily under pressure here. It does protect. Do we see Heat Wave from Chandelure? What do we see here? We see Shadow Ball. Okay. Charizard clicks Heat Wave. It does connect on both Pokemon. And I think that that's probably going to be curtains for Dan's run here. They did play it really well, but it's hard to beat these really, really impressive Pokemon here. Alright. Let's see. What does Dan do? Heat Wave comes out. Charizard dodges it. Garchomp dodges it. This spells almost certain doom for Chandelure. I think the idea here was like, hey, maybe if I can get a burn, there's a chance, but Earthquake does not miss. Tough, GG. They played it really well. It's hard to get a Pokemon like Chandelure to a 4-0 situation, so to bring it to finals is a really respectable run. Congratulations to Dan. Alright, we're gonna pop into our other 4-0 set to see how other people are doing. Alright, and with that, Dimitri very potentially is the winner of our tournament. And now we're checking for who is potentially, based on resistance, who could also be our other top placer. Tough, GG, yeah. Alright, now this is Piggy versus Flower Power. And Flower Power is, as you could expect, using a Calm Mind setup Floette team. So much ice cream today, I love it. Yeah, gotta love a good ice cream. Alright, so it looks like Mega Scovillain has been on the field. This is currently game 1. So, while the other set resolved really quickly, Piggy's set has been quite a slog. Yikes, been a fun tournament. Thank you for the follow, Alan Lyle. Alan Lyle? I can read, I swear. Just kidding. Alright, so Golden Touch uses Fake Out onto Uncle Iroh, the Archaludon. Does proc stamina. We see a Machagacha come out into Politoed and Archaludon. It is going to remove the Politoed. Archaludon gets another stamina proc. And it looks like it's going to become just Scovillain and Archaludon versus the world here. Alright. Uncle Iroh flinches. It is the final Pokemon to move, which means that it's probably inside of Trick Room. Okay, yes. The question is, does this Archaludon have any speed boost currently? Zuko and Azula? Okay, we didn't guess correct. That's a great name. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. How much speed does this Arch have? It does not have any speed. It does have 3 defense boosts. And based on the way that this board is set up, I have a hard time imagining that Sneasler's walking out of here without being burned. Speaking of being burned, that Floette is also burned, but the question is, how much health does it have remaining? Unfortunately, without seeing how much health is remaining on that Floette, I have a hard time imagining how Pighog is going to break that flower. because Archaludon is not known for being as fast as Floettes. Oh, it's both names? Amazing. Fair. Yeah, both names is very funny. Alright, we see Sinestro switch out into Incineroar. Alright, we see an Intimidate come out. Rage Powder from Zuko and Azula. Oops, sorry, Haley. We see a Dire Claw come out. Does it survive? It does not, but they are going to be burned for their troubles. Spicy Spray goes out, and they are now on a timer. Archaludon, it's fighting a war against the entire world here. What does it fire out? It fires out Dragon Pulse into Incineroar. It's going to do just under half. And then there's going to be a leftovers tick. If there's any Pokemon you want to bet... Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I was going to say, if there's any Pokemon you want to bet on, it's Archaludon. But it looks like they've decided that Game 1 is a loss. Alrighty. The question is, how do they adapt to the power of the flower? Alright, we're gonna spectate. Spectating. Alrighty. Okay. So we've rejoined. I'm looking. It is a difficult matchup, that's for sure. I wonder what the timers were at for game 1. I forgot to look, but there was a long one. Yeah, it had to have been a long one. It had to have been close. That might have been why Pighog decided that it was better to end it, because like they had a 1v4 situation, and it's like, while Arch did have multiple defense boosts, it was like, I know you have a Floette in the back. I don't think I'm ever taking that out. I think the idea here, and the reason that Pighog was struggling last time, was like his team's built around doing special attacks, like big burst special attacks, into that potentially that Floette spot. But Floette's gonna Calm Mind every single turn, and I don't know that Pighog has the same luxury to get a Calm Mind every single turn. And the Pokemon that he wants to pass it to are also Dragon types. So it's kind of hard because Pighog has to really use this Sneasler in order to break that Floette, but he also has to do it in the face of things like Basculegion, like Incineroar. It's hard to do that. So let's see how Pighog adapts. Alright, we see Toph the Sneasler and Politoed come out, followed by Sneasler and Floette. Okay, so we'll have to see what plays do each player make this turn. I have to imagine that the difficult thing here with Flower Power is that it's highly likely that they just switch in another Fake Out user and they put the rotation cycle on. Piggy has a Focus Sash Sneasler, so I imagine that after a single Intimidate, Floette probably survives a Dire Claw. And the thing too is, like, if they use Fake Out into Floette, then, or sorry, into Sneasler, then it's, oops, sorry, I bumped that. It's going to remove that Sash, and it's a really difficult turn. So, like, basically, KST is basically, like, really exerting a ton of offensive pressure to the point where Pighog says, you know what, I think it's just better to switch out entirely. I don't want to deal with this. Alright. I mean, saving Sneasler as an asset in the back is a very smart idea. I have to imagine that Floette's probably doing big fairy damage here, though, so it's going to be a really rough turn for any Mac fans out there. Alright, Fake Out comes out, followed by a Dazzling Gleam. It's going to do pretty decent damage to both Pokemon. Notably, it looks like they can both take another one of those. Unfortunately, Muddy Water is going to miss into the Sneasler. It's going to do not terrible damage into Floette. But the thing is like, I think that both Pokemon on Mac's side are in range to be KO'd by both Pokemon on KST's side. Like, this matchup looks pretty difficult, and it's not like Mac particularly wants to switch in any of his Pokemon this turn either. Like, nothing really wants to take the double up of a poison type attack or close combat plus a fairy type move. So the question is, how does Mac navigate this one? Or Paycog navigate this one? I think that's the main reason to forfeit there. You lose on timer.
It's out of this one.
What?
I said tune in next time.
Tune
on
in
this
next-
episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Exactly. Okay, so we see Sneasler switch out in for the Sinestro. We do see a Protect come out from the Archaludon to get more leftovers healing. We see a Calm Mind come out from Floette, which means now the Archaludon is in range of getting KO'd by a Dazzling Gleam. We see a Muddy Water come out. It looks like Mac is trying to play for potentially accuracy drops. Does not get any of them. Things are looking quite rough if you are rooting for Paycog here. I think that's the main... yeah. Setup Floette is rough for this team. Yeah, I imagine. Like, he's trying to do everything in his power. I think that, like, this might sound silly, but there might be a world where that Politoed has some... Oh, you know what? The Politoed has Encore. So I think that that's kind of what you have to do. I think you have to be like, oh, if you click Calm Mind, I'm clicking Encore, and then I'm just going to be annoying to you forever.
Yeah, but you can get Rage Powdered away, too.
True. Well, I mean, but I'm saying if he made it last
I know
turn.
what you mean.
Yeah, sometimes you play games and there's just bad matchups and it's hard. Alright, Dazzling Gleam comes out. There goes the front two for for Paycog. Alrighty, and then we're gonna see who is in Mac's back line. We knew with the Sneasler, the final Pokemon was going to be Dragonite. Hey, Dragonite should... Well, actually, I don't know if Dragonite's good. Dragonite can probably take an attack from Floette with the Mega. So, maybe... Does this Flower Power have Protect?
Is this the first match you've seen between them?
This is Game 2. Mac lost Game 1.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised Mac didn't bring Scoville in.
He did bring Scoville in Game 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, so I imagine we're probably going to see a Hurricane here into the Incineroar spot, plus a Dire Claw into Floette. Floette probably is going to click Protect. Yes. Did Mac double the Incineroar spot is the question. We do see a Fake Out come out into the Floette. We see Hurricane come out. A Hurricane Confusion could be huge here. Oh, we're in the game, baby. Alright, now if this Incineroar attacks itself and Mac's able to double into the Floette spot, I could see this game opening right back up. Gotta root for Piggy with such a cool team. Yep. It is a cool team. I'm rooting for both of them but at the same time it's like, ugh. Oh, maybe we're back. Dire Claw comes out. It's not enough to pick up. Did Mac double into it? He did. He saw his opportunity. Is it enough? It is. Oh my gosh. We might have found the out. The rain does stop. Oh my gosh. Mac just says wow to his opponent. I'm just watching in the judge chat. Okay. We see Hospitality come out. This Incineroar is at full health. The Sneasler has its sash. This Dragonite's going to have to land Hurricanes with no rain. Like, there's a lot of things that could go wrong here.
With Hurricane Confusion and Sneasler Dire Claw, like, the team does have a lot of ways to get out of a bind.
Yeah, it definitely has ways to get out of a jam. This is still a game, still for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I can see a world where we end in like a Sneasler slugfest.
Because I'm like, what is gonna hit Dragonite that hard now? Like,
the Sneasler with Dire Claws. All right, we see a Rage Powder come out. I have to imagine this is probably just gonna be Well, actually, it could be close combat. Okay, nope. Mac makes the play, says, you know what? I could go for Dire Claw statuses. All right, we see a double up. Hurricane does connect. That's going to be the end of Sinestro. Maybe Dragonite has the strength to go the distance here. Incineroar is still confused. Gets a parting shot off. That is actually a pretty big game-changing play right there.
Parting shot's good, but also they haven't broken multi-scale yet, have they?
They haven't broken multi-scale and their sash. But the thing is like now Dragonite's damage is more middling, so it's like Incineroar's gonna get to live longer.
That's true.
That, and also this means that Sneasler is now at -2. Like, yeah, it has its... Well, actually, Sneasler doesn't even have its stat. Or, no, it does. I was looking at the wrong one. You guys are okay. Alright. But anyway, Sneasler still has its sash. Come here, doggies! Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay, Sneasler has its sash. Dragonite has its multi-scale. Both fake outs are online. Interesting play that Mac didn't go for double protect there. I guess maybe the Sneasler has coaching. Alright, we see a close combat come out. It does have coaching. Okay. I understand why Mac made the play he did. He does lose multi-scale for his troubles, though. And it looks like that Incineroar is in range potentially of another close combat. I mean, it did get close combat. It's gonna be close. It's definitely probably in range of a Hurricane. There's a chance that Mac just starts going for Dire Claws into the other Sneasler. We see another close combat come out. The Incineroar does survive, just barely. Sneasler's defenses go down yet again. We see Dire Claw go out into Dragonite, does a good chunk, gets poisoned. What does Dragonite go for? Goes for Hurricane, it looks like it misses. Ooh, that's terrible. Throat Chop into the Dragonite. Ooh, the Dragonite's on a timer. It does have extreme speed, so it can remove it can remove the freaking well, actually, no, it's probably also at -2, so I don't even know if extreme speed will be enough to pick up from here. But hey, we said it once, we'll say it again. If there's a Sneasler, there's a way, right? Like, it's -2 Sneasler versus full... It's also +1 defense. He does go for the extreme speed. Is it enough? It's not. It does less than 10 HP. Dire Claw comes out into the other Sneasler. Does it do anything? It does not. Dire Claw comes out into the other Sneasler. Oh my gosh. Sleep. Oh no. And just like that, it is looking like it is curtains for Pighog's run. Sneeze. I mean, you can't even be too mad, because, like,
we're in this place in the first place from a hurricane confusion and a hurricane hit through no rain.
Exactly.
But that was anyone's game in the last turn there, because basically if you hit the hurricane on D-Knight, you have to imagine that Sneasler's going down to basically 1 HP.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for the follow, Girasolia. That was a fun set. I appreciate everyone that's been watching and having a good time. Also, I might have to check. I might have just hit 400 followers. I know it was close before. Let's see. I don't know, but I'm probably pretty close, which is pretty cool. So, you might be number 400. I'm not entirely sure. Alright, it looks like we have one set that is remaining in our tournament, so let's watch our final set here, and then that will be the end of our tournament.
We've hit follower goal. Dog reveal on stream.
The dogs have revealed themselves a few times, or at least Haley has. Alright, we're gonna check out the final set. I'm gonna go let these dogs out because I think they need to go potty. So I will be right back.
Who let the dogs out?
Who?
Mac, good playing. That was rough.
Honestly, I need to figure out the lines into that matchup. It was very, very good though. Like, their play was, I mean, I can't feel bad about it because I did ultimately, like, make a big swing back into the game.
Yeah, with the confusion on the ensign.
Literally, I was like, if I land this hurricane onto the Sneasler, then I had a real chance of being back in it, but unfortunately it missed. And I was like, well, I landed two out of the side of the range.
I can only.
And asked for three.
Does Sneasler have, did their Sneasler have Focus Sash?
Yes, it did. So I needed to be able to land that, and then
I think maybe at that point, do you just go for Dragon Pulse because you can't miss, and two probably pick up anyway?
So I had that thought, but maybe at that point in the game, maybe I needed to just go for the confusion. I think that he was able to knock out my Sneasler potentially that turn, but either way,
Yeah,
it was a really close set. I can't be too upset.
Oh no, Ensign took a Hurricane too. Because I was like, how did Ensign live that close combat? But yeah.
Oh, because he got the coaching defense boost.
Yeah, that's why.
The first one did about a little bit over 50%, and then he had about 47% HP. And then he had gotten the coaching boost, so I kind of knew that it wouldn't pick him up. I was just hoping that it would. I was hoping for a crit.
Yeah, if you brought it to a 2v1, it might have been.
I brought it from a 2v1 from a losing board. That matchup did feel really difficult. Specifically, like normally the Zard matchup is like not as fun, but that Float matchup, I literally put Encore on the Polytoad to try and solve it, and Will had Ice Beam on his. And I think
Okay, I have
Encore
returned.
just does not do what I
Thanks for the tourney. Got outplayed in my final game. Enjoyed it. Glad you had a good time. Also, thank you so much to everyone for the. I see I've got a few follows now. Greatly appreciated. This is the final match of our tournament. It looks like Zerork and Whimsicott are facing off against Delphox and Incineroar. Is this a...
Whoa, Parker, they didn't know that yet.
No, it's not actually a Zerork. It's a Charizard named Zerork, but this player should know that if you name your Pokemon other things and bring it to a tournament, you're highly likely to get your Pokemon removed. You're not going to be able to use it. So
yeah,
for the rest of the tournament,
not even auto game loss, but you won't get to use the Pokemon for the rest of the tournament.
yeah, which is quite bad.
So keep that in mind, Jock.
Yeah.
Or Jack. Who knows?
2 C's gives me Jock energy.
I think it's Shock,
For
yeah.
me, it's got to be a QUE to be Jock.
That's fair. CQUE, right?
That's just Jack C.
Jack C. Alright, so we see Heat Wave comes out into Charizard. It's going to do a lot of its health, not enough to pick it up. Critical hit. This Incineroar is putting on a lot of pressure to both these Pokemon too, because it doesn't particularly care about damage from either of them. Like, it's not gonna not take damage, but it's a pretty good defensive backbone into both of these Pokemon. Tailwind is up for 2 more turns. Delphox is sitting pretty healthy here. Like, a Heat Wave is probably gonna knock out both of these Pokemon. Since Tailwind is up, though, it means that Charizard and Whimsicott are gonna be able to return fire. There's the potential that Weather Ball plus Moonblast will be enough to pick up the Incineroar from this range. I know, it's Skulking. Alright, we see an Encore. This to me says, hey, my final Pokemon are not weak to fire moves, so deal with it. Heat Wave's gonna do big damage into both these Pokemon. Critical hit back into Delphox. We see Heat Wave fires right back off. And the question is, what does Incineroar do? And the answer is probably nothing unless they went for a move into their own Pokemon. Updated my Twitch app to follow on there too. Thank you, Meg. If nobody got me, Meg got me. Alright, we do see a parting shot. Unfortunately, it's actually not going to be into anything. So Incineroar is going to stay on the battlefield, which means that this Delphox, which can't click Protect anymore, is very heavily threatened. Especially because I imagine one of these Pokemon is probably... There he is! Yep, Basculegion. Okay. And the question is this Basculegion a Scarf Basculegion? And the answer to said question is yes. Also, I imagine that Tailwind's up for at least 1 more turn. Yeah. So this has become a very, very tricky situation for Clutch to navigate out of.
Is this tournament open nature?
This is open nature, yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
So this is a Jolly Choice Scarf Basculegion. They do have... The thing is that Clutch does have a Choice Scarf Timid Vivillon. So, like, if they can position that Vivian in, they can put that, or that, what's it called? That, thing to sleep. So, the question is, though, is like, this thing is almost certainly locking into Last Respects here. And if you lose your Vivian, you probably lose the game. Last Respects comes out, it goes into Vivian. That's probably just game.
There. I guess they didn't want to give up Ensign with the Intimidating Pressure.
I mean, Intimidate Pressure is nice. Oh, this is Kasib Berry Sinestro, so I guess it's not over. I think you just do Fake Out plus Matcha Gacha or Fake Out plus... you don't have... You actually do not have access to... what's it called? I can't think of words. Words are eluding me. You do not. You don't have access to. I got my brain is completely gone. You don't have access to Trick Room. Okay, so you do Fake Out plus Matcha Gacha. It connects into Basque Legion. It's going to do a lot of its health. Then you hope that Sinestro should survive that. Then, or actually, you know what? You could just do Rage Powder plus Throat Chop this turn too. Throat Chop. That's your signature move. Alright, so Last Respects gets called out correctly into Incineroar. Outrage. Actually, I've never seen that animation in this game. I don't know how Clutch is going to clutch this one out because they just got 0 momentum for that Protect. A big play that does not pay out in their favor. Is the writing on the wall? Has Clutch surrendered, or do they think that they have an option here? Alright. Sinestro might be able to take... I don't think Sinestro takes the double up. So basically, Basque Legion has to be removed by Delphox. And Delphox does not even have a super effective attack here. So you have to hope that critical hit Psyshock is enough, and I am almost certain it is not. Maybe in a world where you click Heat Wave and get a double burn, but I think realistically what Clutch had to do last turn was leverage their Incineroar a bit better. Outrage called to Protect. True. Well, it's funny because Outrage, yeah, Outrage is it's kind of a Jesus take the wheel kind of move. You never know where it's going to target, and it targeted where it needed to that time.
You could have sacked the turn that he double pivoted. They double pivoted. You could have sacked the Ensign or parting shot it just to get the Vivian in without dying.
Because Austin's on the Discord thing. Yeah. Oh, okay. So the idea here is like, hey, if I can get Nasty Plot off and my Sinestro can survive this Outrage, which it will not, unless I. Oh, it will. Never mind. I'm not a believer. I'm a fake fan of this guy's Sinestro. Oh, he's got Lumberry. Okay, but the thing is, Delphox is not surviving that Outrage, so this game is over. Unless, well, you know what, miracles do happen. So maybe it's.
Burn? You don't think Burn would live the Outrage?
Yeah, but then if you like if you click Heat Wave, you don't KO Basque Legion.
Yeah.
So then you lose that way. And even if you burn both of them, you will not survive the double up the following turn. So Last Respects will remove the Sinestro. It's so funny because if you know what they could have done? If they didn't Protect and just went for Matcha Gacha, there might have been a world. Psyshock will remove this Basque Legion. Unless this Garchomp finds a way to not connect onto this Delphox this turn. Which it does. And it does survive. They should have just gone for Outrage. Outrage would have done it. I have to believe. I mean, I guess Rock Slide is super effective. But Outrage just got stabbed. I don't know. Maybe it would have been close. They still have to get through another turn, though, is the thing. Does Garchomp go down to the Psyshock? Is Clutch just that clutch? Okay, he does survive. He does click Outrage, and this game does end. It did swing back and forth way more than I thought it was going to, but Jacques ultimately ends up taking it. Rock Slide could have missed. Yeah, there were a lot of things that really could have gone wrong there.
Can you hear me, Parker?
I can hear you. Sorry, I was just getting a little hyped up.
No, you're good. I was just laughing because once or twice you just repeated what I said. But anyway, yeah, also, Rock Slide and Outrage should have the same damage roll, right? Because Rock Slide's 90, doubled to 180, and then Outrage is 120 plus 50% 180.
Yeah, but one can miss.
Yeah, I agree. I would say Outrage is a better call.
Yeah. Okay, we're on the same wavelength. All right, I'm looking at it right now on the damage calculator just to make sure. No,
Yeah,
Garchomp. I just looked it up into Delphox. Outrage just does more than Rock Slide. Hold on, it is Mega Delphox.
Really?
Yeah. My first intuition was correct.
Is Rock Slide 80 base power? I thought it was 90.
Rock Slide is base 75.
Oh, duh. Yeah, of course it's gonna do more for Outrage then.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So if you click Outrage into Delphox, like it's almost always one-shotting, and that Delphox had already taken damage, so it's always optimal to do that. Let's see.
Even single target Rock Slide is 75.
Single target, it's still less.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We are going to... Okay, that's 17 out of 17 matches completed. We're... Also, look at how many people on the right side... I guess on the bottom half, the left side one more. I was just going to say, it looks really right heavy. Let's see. We're going to end the tournament. Drum roll, please. We're going to check out the final standings of our tournament. Dun, 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 dun. All right, standings are Dr. Bajan was our first place, followed by Gyoki PR, VGC Dan, Archon, Flower Powered Piggy, Garaz, and Yay Boy for our top 8. Congratulations to all the people that played. We had a lot of people in this tournament. I would love to shout out all 51 of you, but unfortunately, my voice is already tired from talking all night. I hope that you had a great time watching. Thank you to all the people that had a time or spent their evening playing with us today. I hope you all had fun. I know I did. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like, follow, subscribe, do whatever, press buttons, because it means a lot to me.
Smash those buttons.
Smash just smash your head across the... No, don't do
Your
that.
finger is super effective against the subscribe button. Just
Yeah.
So you know.
Just bump the buttons, you know? Alright, we're gonna raid somebody else, so I hope you guys all have a great night. Bye-bye. Well, it's gonna be bye-bye in like 10 seconds when I can press the bye-bye button, but...
Shout out to Mac. Nice job. 4-1. Good showing.
Yes.
Thank you. Shout out to everybody else that was also 4-1 that beat me due to resistance.
Yeah, but I mean,
You're all